You're everyone. I'm Wally, and the rest of the listeners are Brennan, and we're roasting chips. Yes.
Hello.
Hello. I
Hi.
beat you to it. It's a race
Me.
every time, and I
Yeah,
never
I know.
win.
I know. We got a long podcast today, folks. Lots has
Oh
happened in
yeah,
the MCU. Lots of
lots.
news. Brennan went to Disney. I saw Ghostbusters
Yes, I did.
Afterlife, of course. And so let's start with Brennan. Brennan, how was Disney?
Yeah.
Oh, and
Let's
gloves.
start with
Hold
me.
on. Wait.
What?
Congratulations on
Oh,
your engagement.
yes.
Brennan got
Yes, I am
engaged.
I am engaged. I did it right before my now fiance and I left for Disney World the evening before, exhausted from uh getting packed up and everything, but it was our anniversary, our 4-year anniversary. Had a nice dinner out, an expensive dinner out, had a very nice one. And afterwards, long story short, I am now engaged. So
Yeah. Good job. Good
yeah,
job, Brennan. You did
yeah.
it. You did it. So Disney. How was Disney?
Yes, it was amazing. It was so much fun. It was extremely busy and exhausting, like the entire
Sure.
time,
Sure.
but so much fun. Oh, before I go any further, let me talk about uh some of the souvenirs I got. Because one, Happy Life Day,
Oh my
huh?
God.
Huh?
Yes.
It's canon.
Beautiful.
They made it canon, and
They
it's now
did.
Life Day. So Happy Life Day. Go check out my video about the Mark Hamill holiday special if you have not already. And I also got some Mickey ears.
That was so smooth. For those of you listening,
Thank
he
you.
stood up without them on and he sat down with them on. That was so smooth.
My years of magic practice have paid off.
Those are cool. I
But
like them.
yeah, I don't know if they're supposed to be normal Loki ears or what, but I like to call them the alligator Loki ears because alligator Loki is green, and of course all of the other Lokis have nothing to do with green whatsoever. They most certainly don't wear green robes or anything. So these ears must be the alligator Loki ears.
Next
So
time you come, do like an in-person podcast, we
yeah.
bring the ears and we'll get my alligator. We'll just put it in the background. Put it on the
Yes.
alligator. Put it in the background.
Yes.
It only makes sense.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But yeah, I was so shocked because there was like a ton of merch actually that was themed around Life Day and all. I don't know if I specified out loud, but when I'm talking about Life Day, I have a shirt that says Happy Life Day and it has Chewbacca holding the orb and everything. I don't think I mentioned that. I think I just said Happy Life Day and you were like, wow. And everyone who's only listening was like, oh, okay. But I have a shirt that has Chewbacca holding the orb or whatever, and it's exactly like ripped from the Star Wars Holiday Special. And
Ripped
it's
from the
so
back of the book I have, the Life Day
yes,
book.
yes.
Yeah.
It's so funny to me, like knowing the book and like how much at Galaxy's Edge at Disney World specifically, they're like so heavily marketing Life Day now after
Yeah.
George Lucas spent years and decades trying to bury any like mention of Life Day or the holiday special or anything. Now Disney's like, we're going full force, just all the way here. But yeah, so I was
I,
I
I
was
can't
like, I
wait for
have to get at least one solid souvenir. And I was like,
of course.
this shirt is perfect.
I can't wait
So
for Disney to be like, oh, here's a holiday special on Disney Plus.
oh yeah.
Not yet, it hasn't happened yet, but there's still time. There's still time.
But speaking of
Did
Galaxy's Edge, yeah, let me just
Yeah.
talk a little about that because that was such an insane area. Like, I mean, all of Disney is designed well for the most part, I'll say. But as soon as you
Mhm.
step into Galaxy's Edge, like you cannot see out of it. It looks like
No.
we're dropped down in an alien planet.
Mhm.
And it's just every aspect of it. Like even where you go to eat, like every other restaurant had just like the normal trays and normal plates or whatever. But in
Mhm.
Galaxy's Edge, they're like have a very Star Wars design, and by that I don't mean that it's just like like has the Star Wars logo on, but it's they're like heavy like metal trays, and the bowls have different shapes where it looks like something you would see in a Star Wars movie, and it feels like something you would see in a Star Wars movie. And just that attention to detail was fantastic.
Yeah, Disney's really good at that. Like they even invented a color of green called Go Away Green that they'll paint on like the side of walls, so that like it blends in with the tree line. It's pretty cool. And then I think they have the color for that with blue too. But sometimes like I'm sure you probably saw the Guardians of the Galaxy building, the big blue building in Epcot. They painted blue to blend in with the sky. It doesn't work sometimes, but
wow. Okay. Yeah.
So did my tips and tricks help?
Yes.
Good. I'm glad. Because I spent a couple hours on that.
Okay. Sweet.
A couple hours at work because I couldn't do anything else.
Nice. Okay.
So
well, it was.
So I'm glad did you get on Rise of the Resistance?
Well spent. Yes, I actually.
How was it?
Rode that ride twice. Wow. I absolutely had to. It was weird. I don't know if it's like things were not working right, if they wanted to speed things up, but like the first time I went on it was on like a Wednesday, and the park wasn't as crowded. I went on it for the first time. It blew my mind completely. Like I didn't know what to expect, and I'm glad I didn't know what to expect because that was insane. So I won't touch on everything that it had in case anyone's listening doesn't want it spoiled. Right. But like there were a lot of cool parts of it. And then I went again on Saturday, and it was more crowded then because, you know, it's the weekend. It's starting to get to like, you know, the really busy era of Disney where from like the week before Christmas all the way through New Year's, it's packed.
Oh yeah.
And I went on that time, and it was basically the same ride, but there were some parts that were removed, like just skipped over. And I don't know if that's just because they weren't working right, or Disney wanted to speed up how many people could get through the ride.
It's probably a combination of both, because that ride is very famously breaks down all the time.
Yes. And there were some parts where I wasn't even sure if we're gonna get on it, because the week before we went, I kept checking back to get an idea for the wait times, and I kept seeing like, oh, Rise of the Resistance is currently unavailable. It'd have that for like 2 hours and go back, and then 3 hours later it'd have currently unavailable again. I was like, dang.
Well, with such a massive ride, it's bound to happen, you know.
So many moving parts, just so many moving parts.
Yeah.
So really quickly, just wanting to touch on my new favorite rides, like rides I had never ridden before at Disney that I really like now. Rise of the Resistance,
of course,
obviously is very high on that list. Also, Haunted Mansion at Magic Kingdom. I had never ridden that one before, but that is
such a you ride. That is such a you ride. It's such a good ride. There's reason it's a classic.
And then good. Also, one that I saw when I was like looking up wait times for rides and stuff, I was like, this looks super interesting just by the name alone. So I have to check it out. It's at Animal Kingdom, and it's Dinosaur, all caps, exclamation mark.
Yeah, oh yeah.
I was like, I have to ride this. I didn't know what to expect. I expected kind of something like slower or whatever. That was like actually kind of an intense ride, and it was nice.
I'm still afraid of that ride. I'm 23 and I'm still afraid of that ride. I hate that ride because it's scary. And you don't know what to expect. You don't expect that when you go in there. Do you remember that movie though?
No.
Yeah. Oh, it's old. It's kind of like, But the ride's cool. They have a similar ride over in Disneyland, California. Cool. It's like the same ride system, but it's themed to Indiana Jones.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, and then also, the one last ride I almost forgot about, but this is easily one of my new favorite rides at Disney as well. It's the mini adventures of Winnie the Pooh. I loved Winnie the Pooh as a child. I was like, okay, I have to check this out. I was expecting it to be some like tame kids ride or something like that, but it was actually kind of intense as well. There's a lot of rocking back and forth. I mean, you get there and the first intro to the ride is like, it's like the gang, all the characters, and this is this huge storm, and they're all being like ripped, away or whatever, and is like rocking you back and forth and like shaking, and they're like whatever's like, wow, this is actually really neat.
Yeah.
So that one was nice. That one was
two
nice.
questions. Did you get on either of the Avatar rides?
No.
Okay.
But Lauren did while we were at Animal Kingdom. She got on like the really long wait time one, and she said she liked that.
Flight of Passage.
A lot. Yes.
Yeah.
Because we were only at Animal Kingdom for like 6 hours or something like that, and like the wait time there was like 3 hours when we arrived. So we did some stuff together, and she's like, I'm going for this. And while she was at that, I just did all of the other stuff in the areas.
Did you do Kilimanjaro Safari?
Is that the Yeti
the
one?
Safari. No, that's
Oh yeah, this part. No, that was one of the ones that I wanted to do, but we didn't have time for that. No, it wasn't 6 hours. We were only there for like 9 to. We were there for like 4.5 hours.
And then what was the other one I wanted to ask you if you went on? I lost it. Oh well. It'll come back to me at the least convenient moment.
I was hoping to do the Indiana Jones stunt show at Hollywood Studios because it's been gone for a while, but I really liked it as a child, and they were supposed to bring it back the Friday of my trip. It's like, this is perfect. I'll get to experience the like nostalgia and get to see it because it's a fantastic show.
Yeah.
But they delayed the opening 2 days to the day after, to the day that we were driving up, and I was like, come on. And they didn't delay it after that, so it literally opened up the day we were having to drive back up to North Carolina.
That's
so
funny.
I'm definitely have to go back to Disney at some point, if only to just see that show, because I really like that show.
Well, I think our friends are on board for a trip down there at some point.
Heck yeah,
because we all have real jobs now, so have to take like a week off and go down there. Go with the expert.
Oh, yes.
Myself, just get on everything.
See, I think that was one last thing. This is the last thing because I think it's like right behind me right now. This is not mine, but this is Lauren's here. She was very excited about this. I was glad we were able to make it appointment because it's appointment only. But Lauren built her own lightsaber out there, so
that's so cool.
Super cool.
That's so cool.
This has weight. Like, I didn't expect it to have weight, but this has like some serious weight.
That's so cool.
So yeah, extremely nice. Extremely nice. So
nice.
That was fun. That was it was a neat process too, but it's a fast process. Like, they get you in and out as quickly as they can to get in as many people as they can, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
I cannot think of the ride I was going to ask you about. Oh, that bothers me.
Sad.
I know Disney inside and out.
You'll remember halfway through us talking about Spider-Man at No Way Home, and you can just like blurt it out, and we'll just change topics completely and just dive right back into Disney here. But yeah,
nice.
I'm sure that was it from my end.
I
remember if I remember anything else later on, I'll just blurt it out too. Oh, okay. The water park. We went to the water park to Blizzard Beach. It was so nice because it was like 80 degrees in Florida.
Yeah, and it was funny.
It was so jarring driving back up from Florida to Boone. We literally got in the car, it was 80 degrees. We got out of the car, it was 20.
Yeah, I said
60-degree difference. It was insane.
I said to my mom, was like, Brennan's come back today, and like it's like the coldest day of the year.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and he's in the mountains, so like, you mean Saskatchewan?
Oh,
I'm Boone. Yeah, Saskatchewan. People don't know where you live. Anyway.
Nope. Oh yeah, I don't live in. Never mind.
Did you guys eat at the Pinocchio Village House? Because I know you texted me and asked. Did you see? Did you sit near the window?
No, because all like all the seats
were taken.
Yeah. By the window were full, but it was a nice view. I was able to walk by and see. Although it's kind of like almost sad just to watch just the line of people slowly like tick by, because you're like, I'm gonna have to sit in that line, huh?
Yep.
But It was nice.
Nice.
It was nice. They had a really good pizza that had no dairy in it at all. Like I was actually surprised at Disney. Like, I mean, because they have menus and they have like allergy-free menus as well, where it's just like all the common allergens, just allergy-free. So like, yeah, I'll just order something off of here. Like, not really expecting it to taste good, but like if I don't have to take like a Lactaid, that works for me. And the allergy, like the dairy-free pizza, really good. Actually, I've never had a good dairy-free pizza before, but it was
Disney's
really
pretty
good.
Disney's pretty good about the like vegan options and allergy options. They're really good about that.
There was also a hot dog I had that was a foot long. Like it was like hot dog for like $12. I was like, sure, you know what? I'm at Disney. I'll try this $12 hot dog they have. It was a foot long. The bun was like a longer bun than I've ever seen, and the hot dog extended out past the bun.
Was that a Magic Kingdom?
Yes.
It was at Casey's Corner, right?
No, it was at somewhere in it's somewhere in Tomorrowland, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was at multiple locations, because it was just like a standard not themed hot dog.
Gotcha. Oh, I remember Ratatouille. Did you do Ratatouille?
No, like that's something that I would have wanted to do, but like it was like a virtual queue only.
Oh yeah.
And every time I checked, they were like, "We are all done. We are all booked up.
Yeah,
you can't get on this ride now." I was like,
right.
"Dang." Okay.
But I saw Ghostbusters.
It looked neat.
20 minutes ago.
How was?
I just got back.
How was Ghostbusters Afterlife?
It was good. If you like Ghostbusters, you like this movie. The movie's fine. Like it's not a amazing movie, but it's quite good.
Oh.
I enjoyed it.
All right.
It's definitely an homage to the fans. If they make another one, I'm gonna be mad because like it was the perfect way to end it.
Oh, hey.
And it completely like does not acknowledge the thing that happened, the female Ghostbusters at all, as if it didn't happen. But the lead character was a girl, so I guess that's something.
Sweet.
So news.
News now, yes.
Well, I'll try to go by this quickly. Anyway, according to comicbook.com, Kevin Feige has confirmed that Spider-Man 4 is in active production.
That makes sense.
I would imagine so. According to Marvel Entertainment News, most of the what if. You know what? I'm going to skip that because that has potential spoilers. So, moving on. Oh my God, Colton, stop sending me memes. I'm trying to do a podcast.
Hey, he's not sending mini memes right now. Hey, Colton, if you are listening to this, stop sending Wally memes and start sending me memes right now. This is a threat.
You sent me this a couple days ago. According to Marvel India, Charlie Cox will play a significant role in She-Hulk and even suit up as Daredevil.
I would love that.
Me too. We'll talk about Charlie Cox later.
Yes.
But
we will.
Speaking of the She-Hulk, what the Disney came out with Disney Plus came out with a 2022 trailer, and it has been confirmed that Miss Marvel will premiere in the summer of next year. That's the most confirmation we got out of any of this series. Yeah, we know about. But
I had thought that was confirmed earlier.
No, they said fall as well originally, but now it's summer.
Oh, they said fall?
Yeah. Or at least that's what I reported anyway.
I had thought it originally said summer, but I could be
or maybe it was late summer
mistaken.
Maybe that's what I said. Anyway. And then they also subtly confirmed that I Am Groot is coming out next year, which I didn't know about.
No, like I kind of figured that we'd get some new animated series next year, even though they were not announced until recently, just because animated series on one hand are easier to make than live action ones are. There's still a lot of work that goes into them, obviously. Right. But I was honestly hoping for the Spider-Man freshman year animated one instead with the hype around Spider-Man, but I Am Groot, I don't know what that'll be. I don't know if there's any confirmation about that, but
nope. This is like I didn't even know it was coming out next year until this trailer. So and then From the reel at the logos at the end, people were inferring or assuming that the release order will be Moon Knight, Miss Marvel, She-Hulk, and Iron Groot, just with the way the logos came up.
Yeah, but
I don't know if that's confirmed. That's just
yeah,
people. I don't know.
like I believe that order would make the most sense, but I don't trust that it's just the order of the logos because like we know we're getting the Eternals on Disney Plus in January, and I think the Eternals logo was like the last one.
Oh, okay.
So obviously we're not getting that order unless we're getting every single series in January, in which case so hype. That would be so much to report on. But
we'd have to do like 2 podcasts a week.
Yeah. You have to do 2 podcasts a day.
No, we'll just remember we've always talked about the continuous podcast. Like we just don't go to work, we just continuously podcast.
Yeah. It's just a live stream.
And then in that same vein, the Disney Plus trailer, I don't know if we knew this, but Obi-Wan Kenobi was like officially confirmed for 2022.
Yeah,
I don't remember ever getting confirmation about that. I think
I have no idea if we knew that or not.
It's coming next year, so that's
because everyone's like, "Oh, it's confirmed," and I was like, "Oh yeah, I guess." Sure.
And then
because it just feels like I don't remember when they first announced the Kenobi series, but it feels like it's been announced forever. A year. Yeah.
Remember we did that right before we did a Mandalorian episode last year.
Oh.
I only know this because I went back and I listened to old ones not too long ago. Right. But Andor was also slipped in near the end, confirming that's coming in 2022. Which again, I don't think we know nothing about Andor.
Oh, yeah.
And then if you go with the reel at the end, it looks like Obi-Wan Kenobi, then Andor, then Bad Batch. That's how that's gonna go.
Oh.
We have no idea. It is what it is.
Interesting.
And last but not least, in an interview with Stephen Colbert, Keanu Reeves was asked, what character would you like to revisit out of all your characters? And he said John Constantine.
Oh.
I figured I'd slip that in because I know you enjoy John Constantine. So
yeah, I like Matt Ryan's portrayal of Constantine more than I like Keanu Reeves. I haven't seen Keanu Reeves. Maybe I shouldn't speak on that, but I'm just quite partial to Matt Ryan's take on Constantine. Which, speaking of that, just really quickly in A Legends of Tomorrow, I may have mentioned this in an earlier episode, but I don't think
Probably. So. I think you did. It depends.
Like, Constantine officially left The Legends of Tomorrow because he died.
Yeah.
Technically, I absolutely did touch on that. I remember that part. He died, but then I don't know if I mentioned that he came back to life and then he was like, "I'm out, peace, bye."
Yeah, you went. Yeah, you went through the whole thing, and like at the very end, I was like, "By the way, spoilers."
Yeah. But then Matt Ryan is now back on the Legends of Tomorrow team, but he's playing someone else entirely. Like he's no longer playing Constantine. He's playing a different character with a different accent, like, different whatever. And because I am face blind, I didn't recognize it was him at all. And I thought it was funny because like he joins the team and there are all these jokes on the team and they're like, "Oh, he looks like the Atom. No, he looks like our old captain here. No, he looks like Mick." And I just thought it was like a funny joke. They were trying to place him or whatever. But then Lauren comes in when I'm watching. She's like, "Oh, that's Constantine." And I was like, "What?" And I was like, "Oh, wait a minute. First of all, that's why my brain was like, hey, you know that guy." And I was like, "No, I don't." And that's why they're making all the jokes. But it's so funny. I don't know what the logic was there, what happened behind the scenes. But Matt Ryan's Constantine is no more. But Matt Ryan's new character is just part of the team now.
Dude, the CW, that's a shit show.
It's so insane. I like his new character, but I'm like, what happened to Constantine? Did they lose the rights or did Matt Ryan just say, "I like acting, but I no longer want to play Constantine"? It's
oh, that's funny. You ready? You ready to talk about Hawkeye?
Yep, let's dive right into Hawkeye. I have some thoughts here.
hold on. Before we get to Hawkeye,
Is it just episode 6? It's episode 5 and 6 since the last. It is
5 and
episode
6.
5 and 6, right? Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
Before we move forward, I would just like to warn everyone who's not seen Hawkeye or Spider-Man: No Way Home. We're going to talk about every aspect of everything. So, like, if you've not seen either, please turn this off now and come back when you have, because we are not responsible for ruining this movie for you. That's your own fault.
Yes. So, unlike every other podcast episode we have, there's a spoiler alert for this one. I know we've never done any spoilers before in the episode, but this one, this is the first time we will spoil a piece of media on our podcast.
This is the first time that we like give warning, because sometimes we'll get like halfway through and be like, "Oh, by the way, spoiler warning." It's like you've already talked about half of it. We'll eventually talk about the Eternals when I see it, but
oh yeah, have we not talked about that yet?
Because I haven't seen it yet.
Oh man, I need to remember all of my thoughts on, because I had some strong thoughts about.
Wait, had you seen Venom?
Eternals? No, but
I'm sure that part confused you then.
Which part?
At the end credits scene in Spider-Man.
Not that much.
Oh,
unless there's something else I'm supposed to know that I don't know.
No, just at the end credit scene for Venom was him appearing in Tom Holland's universe. That's it.
What?
Yeah, that's why the end thing was there in Spider-Man: No Way Home.
That's wow. That seems like a spoiler for
Venom?
Spider-Man: No Way Home, and
we've already said
Venom. Spoiler. Wow. Okay.
Like that's like the least important part of it. Like that has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. I didn't. Dang. That's yeah. That was kind of already spoiled for you at the end of No Way Home.
I just thought it was a neat little Easter egg thing.
Nope.
But that's
anyway. So, yeah, I didn't spoil any of the Venom.
Wait. So okay, I'm really gonna have to watch Venom now. Like I was planning on watching it because I
shouldn't have spoiled it for you. I'm sorry.
Venom movie now. That's fine. Honestly, like I'm not super invested, but that would have been like a nice surprise there. But I now have more of a drive to watch it because like I like own the Venom movie now, but I didn't have plans on like watching it soon. Really, like I wanted to watch it at some point, but this might make me watch it sooner, perhaps. But that'd have been a neat kind of surprise there.
I'm sorry. I apologize.
That's fine.
I hope you forget.
Yeah, I might. Honestly.
So, Hawkeye.
Yeah. Hawkeye, yes.
You can start. I'm not good at this.
You're very good at
digging the
recapping episode 5. I watched this in Florida on my phone instead of on my big old TV I have in my a living room. It was still nice at the very end of episode 5, but like I woke Lauren up, who's asleep still. I was like, look at this, and you'll know exactly what I'm referring to there. I won't get to that yet, but I need to have some context to start. It started off.
How did it start off?
It was after the fight scene on the rooftop, right?
No, that was the end of this episode.
That was the end of this episode? That can't be right. No.
Oh no, wait.
That was episode 4 ended with the rooftop fight. We are really good at our jobs.
You're right. It did. You're right. Yelena was there at the end of episode 4.
Yeah. So episode 5, I really don't remember anything from episode 5. Like I remember like a couple scenes. Yeah. She told her mom like, hey, look out for Jack because whatever. And Jack ends up getting arrested. And then Yelena comes to Kate and like has made mac and cheese.
Okay, I love that scene.
That was a fantastic scene.
I want to see more of Yelena and Kate.
Yeah,
because I thought Hawkeye and Kate were great, or Clint and Kate were great, but Yelena stole the show.
Oh yes,
like she was so good. I love Florence Pugh.
What else happened in the episode? Hawkeye crashed on. What's that guy's name?
I don't remember.
Grills. It
Yes, that's what it
sounded
is.
kind of like that.
Grills, yeah.
Which was neat. It was great to see more of him. What else happened?
There was just a chat between
Kate and Hawkeye teamed up to do something, right? Wait, was this that was the last episode? Okay, I literally can't remember episode 5.
Me neither. Perhaps we should have watched it.
Hold on, I'm gonna look up the synopsis on the Disney Plus.
I'll try to
thing.
stall as much as I can.
Yeah, you just
the whole conversation between Kate and Yelena was fantastic. It's like, you call this cutlery?
One fork or whatever.
Kate is one fork, and she's like, that's all you need. You only need one fork. And Yelena was offended when she said she was coming there to. Oh no, I don't remember. She was just offended. When Kate was like, "Oh, you came to kill me," and Yelena was like, "I did no such thing. I made sure you didn't die."
What was Hawkeye's arc? Oh no! I remember. Hawkeye called Echo or whatever.
Right,
not called
Maya.
Or whatever. Yeah. Emailed, maybe. I don't know.
Contacted.
Got in contact with the tracksuit mafia and was like, "Hey, meet me here."
He went to that guy and like threatened him.
Was that no? That was in an earlier episode, right?
You are right. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Okay. I literally don't remember any details of this, so
we're sorry, everyone.
He shows up as Ronan because he's like, Maya, show up alone.
Yeah.
And then she doesn't show up alone, but then he takes out like everybody, and then he has a fight scene with Maya, and like he's like, "I'm just a weapon to be aimed as the Ronin. That's all I was. Your boss hired me, so it's your boss." And then Maya realizes that like he has an informant or whatever, and it's the dude that she had partnered with a lot.
She like confronts him.
Scene. No, she asked like, yeah, you're right. The episode she was like, "Why weren't you at the meeting where everybody died?" And he's like, "I wasn't told about the meeting. Oops." And she's like, suspicious.
Like, that's sus.
Yep.
And then she leaves for like half the episode.
What arc did Kate have?
Other than going home? I have no idea.
Wow. We are really...
Did Jack get arrested this episode?
Yes.
I think they got back. I think Kate and Clint got back together and they went back to her house, and then Jack got arrested. I don't know how they got back together. What had happened?
Yeah.
Did you pull up a synopsis?
Yeah, and it didn't help because I just looked on Disney Plus what the description of the episode was, and it was like, things happen. I was like, thanks, Disney Plus. Like, I appreciate that the descriptions really don't give things away. That's not helpful when I'm trying to remember what happened. So I'm sure that's everything. I'm sure that's 100% every part of the episode. It was 3 minutes long. But then at the very end, here's the part that as soon as my brain saw this, it forgot everything else because it made me the most hype out of every part. But Yelena went to investigate who hired her, and it turns out it was Kate's mom who hired Yelena to kill Hawkeye. So Yelena texts Kate this and sends her a picture or a video. Like, I know there was a video. I don't know if like the picture was just like the preview of the video, or if it was like a separate picture in of itself. But the picture has Kate's mom standing next to Wilson Fisk, aka Kingpin, aka the BBEG, who was rumored to be in Hawkeye, who was. And I got so excited. That was a perfect scene. That was a perfect teaser because you don't see the picture. Just Kate shows Hawkeye the phone, and Hawkeye was like, "That's who I was worried about. That's the boss, Kingpin." And then it's like the picture.
That's the big guy, and then it just and then the camera pans in. It's like it's Kingpin. I was like, yes.
Same actor who played him in Daredevil and everything.
You know, sometimes I hate when things get leaked, but I was still excited about this.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, because like it had been rumored that he was going to be in the show for like
but
3
it was
months
only
now.
a rumor, not a leak. If it had been leaked, like
That's true.
confirmed that he would have been there, it wouldn't have been as cool. But just like the rumor, it gets you excited enough without the like actual
Right.
confirmation of what it will be.
Right.
So that was nice. I loved getting to see Kingpin back in there, even if it was just a picture, and that was it.
Yeah.
Um,
Vincent D'Onofrio was just like so chill about everything. He's like, oh, great opportunity for Matt Murdock, for Charlie Cox. Wonderful. Oh, I love these kind of shows. Well, I wonder why. Because you're fucking in them.
Is there anything else to comment on episode 5? Like, I mean, I just
No, it
love
was
that
really
episode.
good.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Probably.
Up to that part, Hawkeye was easily like my favorite show out of all of them. Episode 6, I didn't like it as much. I still think Hawkeye is my favorite series as a whole, but episode 6, you know, it's really hard for MCU series and even some movies to stick the ending, to stick the landing. A lot of times, I think Hawkeye struggled with it in some areas, but I think Hawkeye might be my favorite show out of all of them.
Me too.
Episode 6 time.
Episode 6 time.
Nice.
So how does this episode start?
Kingpin starts off with Kingpin walking on in, and it's like, and we don't know it at first, but it's part of it is the video that's on Kate's phone now that but anyway, it shows us the whole scene, and Kingpin walks in. He has like his cane, which I don't think he ever had a cane in like the Daredevil series, but
a lot of people were talking about it. He did.
Because I was talking to my brother who'd never watched Daredevil, doesn't have knowledge, but I was like, hey, it's Kingpin, like, what do you know about him? And he was like, oh, I just know that he has like a cane or whatever. And I was like, how do you what I didn't even know that was about him at all. But apparently in some comic book adaptations, I suppose, or maybe all of them, he like has a cane that he uses, and it's like special to his character. So neat. But I'm kind of torn about Kingpin's portrayal in Hawkeye, because like
we'll get there. I feel like this is a conversation for after.
Okay, all right.
After we go through the episode,
okay.
Because we see the scene that Kate was talking about, and then we see the flashback with Kingpin in it, right?
A flashback. I don't remember that.
Yeah, because he was like with Maya when she was little. Like we actually saw him. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But anyway, with the whole scene where he's talking to Kate's mom, it's like, oh, you know, your dad owed, not your dad, Kate's dad, your husband owed me some money, and then when he died, you kind of became like the person to pay me back. But then we got into like a business relationship where it's benefited both of us a lot. Kate's mom was like, yes, but now I want to leave that arrangement because it's becoming, you know, my daughter's involved now. So bye. And Kingpin's like, no.
My favorite line of Kingpin's and all that was like, she quit, like she works at Goldman and Sachs. Like, that's not how this works.
Yes.
That was a great line.
Yeah, that was fantastic. What was I?
Then we get the flashback, right?
Gonna say, I suppose I actually don't remember a lot about the flashback.
That's fine. It only lasted like 20 seconds.
Oh, all right.
And then I think that's when. Is that when the party starts? The next scene. Or like they're preparing to go to the party, and
they make the arrows because Hawkeye's like, we're gonna need trick arrows, and Kate's like, you can make this. That was a cool scene.
That was so cool really to know that like Hawkeye makes him himself and not like Stark, even though he was using some Stark tech and some Pym tech. It was so cool to know that he personally makes his arrows. Yeah, because if you remember earlier on in the series or whatever, where Kate was like, oh, we need trick arrows, and like Hawkeye was like, no, there's only like a set number of trick arrows, and
and that's it. That's like all we can have.
Mm-hmm.
And now he's like, no, I can make as many triggers as I want. That was neat.
Yeah,
that was neat.
really cool. That was a neat scene just to see that, not everyone relies on Tony. He's
Yeah.
gone, you know.
Oh yeah. I mean, because like Hawkeye had been doing his stuff long before Tony Stark was Iron Man. So
right, he just made it easier because of the tech.
probably, yeah. But yes, so they make a bunch of arrows, and like there's a really funny scene where Kate is like putting the labels on all of the arrows.
Which is a callback from like the first episode, I think, or the second episode.
Yeah.
Like, why don't you label these things?
It was the third episode.
That's right. You're right. Yeah.
Actually, yeah. I think. But yeah, it was neat. And because there's one, she was like, "What does this one do?" And he's like, "It's very dangerous." She just puts like "very dangerous" as the label on the arrow. And that was so funny. But there were a lot of neat new arrows that we hadn't seen before at all. And skipping ahead a little bit, actually a lot, I guess, but the final battle scene where we get to see all of them like do all their things.
Cool. Yeah,
that was so neat. I feel like it was kind of excessive in some aspects. Like if you were trying to do this more strategically, I don't think you would just been flinging like every arrow out, but it was still neat to get to see all of their effects very quickly right back to back. Like Hawkeye has never been like the center of attention in a battle scene. Yeah. So for him suddenly to become this center of attention, you get to see like really all the stuff he can do. Like him just by himself. I mean, I know Kate was there too, but they're kind of like it's not all these different heroes. Like two heroes doing the exact same thing. You're getting to see the focus being like the arrows instead of that just being like the background to Iron Man or Thor or whatever. That was neat.
Yeah,
that was neat.
So then they go to the party, right? Or did we see Kingpin get mad at that one guy? Or he was like, he made his plan or whatever to kill Kate's mom?
I don't remember.
Sorry, guys. We're really bad at this today.
Yeah, I know, right? We're too distracted by thoughts of Spider-Man. God, we're going to spend like an hour and a half on Spider-Man.
Pictures of Spider-Man, you know?
Yeah. Spider-Man. But I think the party comes next. They're just like walking around. They have all of the live action role-playing people serving as backup, kind of just looking around.
Super fucking lame.
What?
Never mind. That part where that came up later, it's just so lame.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, that was kind of like the turning point for me. That was like, come on, do better, Marvel. Come on.
Really? Wow. All right.
Anyway.
All right. But then Hawkeye's walking around. One of them comes up holding a glass, like we don't see anything. The area is clear, whatever. And then Hawkeye sees like the red dot.
Before that, we find out Jack is out of jail, and he has a conversation.
And he has a sword. He's carrying a sword on him. Such a baller move.
Honestly. And the little grandson comes up. He's like, his like great nephew or whatever comes up. He's like, I thought you were in jail. And they have a great exchange. It's really funny.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so then he sees the thing.
Yeah, and then he's like, get down, and then
that guy
whatever
shooting.
Yeah, and then he's like doing the whole running thing from the trailer. There's a lot of Kate finds her mom, takes her in like a room without any like into the kitchen, which is far away from the windows, and is like, whatever, how could you wait here? And she's like, no, you don't understand.
And then the mom was like, he's out.
Yeah, and then after Kate leaves, the mom just leaves. And then Jack was there as well. I think Jack was just fantastic throughout the whole series, honestly. I really like liked the energy he had.
They kind of like made us think he was the bad guy, and then he was like, he was. Yeah, you're right. He was great.
Yeah, because especially at the very end where he just starts fighting people off with his sword when all the tracksuits arrive. such a great scene.
Murdering people.
Because like he was like, this is my like a moment here or whatever, and he just like charges out. And then I'm gonna jump ahead slightly, but then when they're like, should we escort the civilians out or whatever, and Hawkeye's like, yeah, and they're like, what about him? And is Jack fighting all them with his sword? Or no, it was like Kate or whatever, and Kate's like, yeah, probably him too. It's like he's
you know what? He's like, no, he's on our team, but yeah, he's probably
yeah. It's like he's doing good, but probably should get him out of here anyway, because he's just a guy with a sword.
So then I think is that when Clint goes up a couple.
Yelena, yeah.
Hold on, no, Clint goes up a couple stories to go try and find the other guy.
He goes
down
a couple stories, right? Yeah.
Whatever. He goes to a different floor and tries to find him.
Oh yeah, because like Yelena had walked in and the guy was like, "Can I take your coat?" And she was like, "No." So then she's looking around and then she sees him go in like the elevator, and that's when that whole thing starts.
Yelena.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love Yelena. And they both got in there, and Kate got in the elevator.
Because like
Yelena was like trying to press all the buttons.
No, because like because at first Yelena is like standing outside the elevator that like Hawkeye was in, and Kate's like, he's gone, you can't, whatever. It's like, what's your plan here? And the elevator stops at floor 12, and then Yelena's like, got it, and Kate's like, oh, oops. But yes, so then Yelena hops in the other elevator and hits floor 12, and Kate like waits till the last minute and like scurries in there, and Yelena's like, oh no.
Well, she keeps trying to do it, and then like Yelena's like blocking her, and then she finally gets to do it.
Yeah,
that was great.
No, yeah, because then they're both sitting in the elevator, and then Kate goes to hit the buttons, and Yelena keeps like like blocking her off there, and like really that like their whole fight scene was like such a nice scene. Where especially where she just hits all of the buttons. Yelena's like, no,
the quips,
on, Kate Bishop. Yeah.
The quips between Kate and Yelena were just.
And it's such a funny fight scene because Yelena could kill Kate immediately if like she wanted to. So it's this funny scene where it seems almost like this equal fight scene, but Yelena's holding back so much. But then it's counting on the moves like oh, you did the thing where you did that. That was like super neat.
And she's like, oh, thank you.
Yeah.
And then at one point, Kate was like, well, why don't we just go get drinks? She's like, oh, yeah, of course. But after I kill Clint.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Their dynamic was just so good.
Yeah.
And I loved Clint and Kate's, but Kate and Yelena's was perfect.
Mm-hmm. And then Yelena does the thing like out the window and everything, and Kate calls down because Hawkeye's like hanging out like just like he's like looking out the window, and Yelena's like coming down right on top. But Hawkeye's able to get out of the way in time.
Didn't she shoot him like once or twice, and then she just lets go? I don't remember. Whatever. And then she slides down the rest of the building, right?
Yeah. Kate gets down. I don't remember how. Hawkeye ends up in the tree somehow. I don't remember how.
Did he get bombed or something? Oh, no.
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah, no, because all the tracksuits are coming up, and then he has the whole fight scene. And
after Kate and Yelena go down that one rope that Yelena left, because Kate went down in two after Yelena.
Yeah.
Poorly.
How did Hawkeye?
Yeah, it was that fight, and then I think someone threw a grenade or something. Or no, he blew up the.
Yeah. But then
he tried to use the same rope, and then it just didn't work, and he ended up in a tree.
Oh yeah. But how did he land in the tree?
I don't know.
Maybe he. I don't remember, but he's stuck in the tree.
Yes.
So then Kate's having some fight scenes on the ground and everything, and then Kate's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get you out of the tree," and he's like, "No, I got it," and she's like, "No, just hang on," and he's like, "No." And then she like cuts the supports on the trees with the arrows, and then does an acid arrow to the middle to like melt the stump of the tree, so then it falls into the ice rink. So Hawkeye's just in the ice rink now.
And then then this is where the big battle happened. And then that's when Kate's like, get everyone out of the area. and Jack is out there just hacking and slashing to people, like killing. I think he's killing.
Such a funny guy.
Which I thought is the most similar to the Daredevil series and like the Netflix series, because it's like gruesome. Like he was just sing, just slicing people. I don't know if he killed everyone, but he definitely sliced a couple throats.
But yeah, I like. Honestly, it would be all right if this was the only series that we saw him in, but it would be super cool to just have him
and Deadpool
return in other series as well.
Him and Deadpool. Yeah. That'd be so funny. The two swordsmen just slicing people up.
But then
and then the big fight scene.
Kate and Hawkeye, you know, are in the middle. They're firing off all the arrows, some super cool arrows and all that. So because I like how they just have the bow and arrow, and there's like all the tracksuits on the outside like have guns. And then like so it's like, oh, they're gonna die because I don't care how good you are at, you know, doing whatever, you do not have the high ground and you're surrounded by people with guns. But then he does like the electromagnet arrow or whatever.
You underestimate their power.
But it literally pulls all the guns aside. And that was, I think, such a clever way of the series going about it, making it like even, because you could have done it like in a lazy way so easily, like, oh, they didn't bring guns, or like, oh, whatever. But that was like a really smart way of like handling that.
It was a cool effect too with the whole thing letting around the rink. So up until this point, we had seen like maybe like 20 or 30 tracksuits. Why they just kept coming and waves and waves.
So
it was like a video game.
Yeah, and it was really funny, and like, because honestly, most times movies have like stuff like that, I'm like, okay, that's not believable, because like, you know, this really powerful, important organization doesn't have just that many members who are that expendable. But kind of the whole point of the tracksuits was they're like not smart dudes. So it's really funny to see all of these like truly like expendable characters just continuing to charge in and get wrecked by all of the arrows, because they're just, their whole thing is they are just not smart.
We forgot about that one tracksuit guy who Kate talked to, gave advice to earlier. He's like, Kate, thank you. Like, she's like got him in like an arm twist. He's like, Kate, I listened to your advice. Thank you so much. Like, we went to Maroon 5 instead. She's like, oh, that's great. And then she twists his arm.
Oh man,
that was a great interaction. It was a very like, MCU interaction.
Her dynamic. Oh, and we have them in like a costume now as well, with like their actual suits. Like Hawkeye, the old Hawkeye, now has like a suit. Honestly, I liked her suit a lot. I didn't really like the design on his as much. It just kind of felt odd to me, but
they needed more padding on it. Like, it wasn't like it was just like a shirt.
Yeah.
Her suit was awesome, but she's had that since the beginning of the show, which was cool that she kept that. But and then
but yes, so there's the whole fight scene. There's the one scene where he is like the Pemtech technology's there, but it's a shrinking one. So like the van literally drives up. They were gonna die anyway as soon as that van hit the ground, because I was going so fast right at them. Surprised that they were able to aim the van that well, because I was heading straight towards Clint and Kate. But they used the shrinking arrow, and they're like, and then Kate's like, what do we do about there now? Because there are two tiny people in there. And he's like, I'm gonna have to talk to Scott about that. So I thought it was so funny that like, like I am glad that it confirmed at least that like the Avengers still talk to each other now, even though you know, are the Avengers still whatever. But then the owl comes and like scoops up the van, which at first I was like, oh my god, so these two tiny people are like doomed to stay like this forever now, because they're not going to get found. But then I was like, I have no idea. That actually is a good question.
I think it does wear.
I'm not sure if it
being big wears off. Right? Because I do remember that. Because remember Scott, like if he stays, he can't stay that way for too long. Maybe he has to. Maybe it's control.
No. But staying big because does last. You remember the one scene in Ant-Man and the Wasp, when like he was too big that like he passed out, but he fell to the bottom of like the ocean, whatever, and he whoever had to go and like hit the button to get him small. I don't know if it. I don't think it wears off unless there's a special kind of PEM particle, which would be neat. But anyway, those guys literally drove their van into an ice rink. They were going to die no matter what, as soon as that hit the ground. And so at least they're alive, I suppose.
As far as we know.
Yeah, unless they got eaten by that owl. But yeah, anyway. So then they're kind of done with everything. So Kate goes to look for her mom, and Clint's still there. And then he has the whole confrontation with Yelena, where they have the whole fight scene. And she's like, before I kill you, I just need to know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And Clint was like, I could tell you, you're not going to believe me, because what we know, they were on a distant planet in the past to get a rock.
Where one of them had to die.
I'm really glad he didn't try to explain it, because that would have been the most unrealistic aspect of the whole show. But yeah,
and he was like, I tried to stop her. She would not let me. She was too good. And she's like, I don't believe you.
Yeah, because he was like, she sacrificed herself to save everyone. And she was like, no, you're lying. But then eventually, because he does the call thing, like the secret call that like they use to communicate and all that.
Yeah. And
then she's like, how do you know that? And he's like, because I was very close with her, and like she talked about you all the time. And she sacrificed herself, and I couldn't stop her if I tried, because she was more talented than me always.
It was a very emotional scene.
Yes, so it's nice. And then like Elena's like, fine, you can live or whatever here, which is nice, because I guess she no longer had to kill him, because, well, let's jump over to Kate's arc now, because Kate's mom has left and is hopping into a car, and it's like, let's get out of here. And then she sees the driver is dead, and then sees the guy that like led her there is being like tossed over. And then her door is ripped off of her car, and it's Kingpin who's standing there. And I was like, ooh, okay. I'm
so glad they kept his strength. Like, obviously that's a big part of it in the comic book, but like he was strong. Like he just ripped that door off like it was nothing.
Yeah, and here's where I'll start to talk about what I kind of liked about Kingpin versus did not like. I really have mixed things about him, because like in the Daredevil series, I mean, he had strength. I don't think he ever had that level of strength. Quite. I mean, there were times like in fight scenes. I mean, he was very, very strong, but there was a scene, like comic book strength.
There's a scene where like when he was in jail in Daredevil season 2, he like right before his fight with the Punisher, he like lifted, like he was doing bench pressing like 450.
Yeah. So oh yeah.
Real quick, I think we might have skipped over the one other guy who Maya was friends with. Like he died.
Oh yeah, because
we skipped over that. He's dead.
Yeah, because Maya had the whole fight with him, where she was like, you can, like, I want you to come with me here. I'm leaving. And he's like, no, I'm staying, because this is where like I'm supposed to be. You were never supposed to have the spot I was supposed to have. Your spot. So the whole fight scene, and he dies.
I did not care about his character whatsoever.
I liked him. I assumed he was sticking around for the Echo series. I guess not.
Because I think that's like a point of emotional trauma for her maybe to like think about again. I don't know, maybe not.
So Kingpin rips off the door.
Yeah.
And is like, I'm going to kill you, I believe. I don't remember exactly what he was trying to do. I'm assuming he wanted her dead, but then Kate shows up and is like, no. And he's like, go away. And she shoots him in the chest with an arrow, like right in the middle. And he just pulls it out.
And it's like goes on as if nothing happened.
I don't know if he pulled it out or like broke it off or like what, but like,
yeah, it did not faze him.
He was just like, you do not know who you're messing with here. And I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. But then so then he starts to walk towards Kate, and they kind of have a little like fight thing, and he's winning. And then Kate's mom is called in the driver's seat of the car, whatever, and literally drives the car into Kingpin, hitting him into a building.
How did she get in that much speed in that little time?
I mean, I'm assuming, it was a nice car. I mean, there are cars that can go from 0 to 60 like immediately. I don't know how like that much of an impact, but like
Whatever.
I really like that scene. But anyway, because he's still in there, and Kate goes in there for some reason.
Toy Story. It's a toy store.
Yeah. I don't remember why she walked in there necessarily, but she wants to like make sure Kingpin can't harm her mom. But they have a whole fight still. Like he's fully throwing her across the room.
And like punching her so hard she flies across the room. Like he is super strong. Though I will
I really
that
like
fight
that
scene was
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just like a boom, okay, and a boom. Like I don't know. It just felt it was just a very one-sided fight, which I guess makes sense.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But
she's like a 20-year-old girl, and he's like Kingpin. So
yeah, that's what I was starting to say earlier, and I got a little bit off track. But I really like how they made like his physical strength and aggression here. I really thought that was nice, but they didn't do enough with his like strategic side and all that. Where like in all of Daredevil, his main thing was he was very strategic and manipulative and all this stuff, and they didn't really do that at all.
No,
which is kind of a waste in my opinion. Like I like how they made him strong, but that's kind of the one thing that they made him. And there was no reason for Hawkeye to really be that scared of him. If it's just his strength, and they really didn't show the real reason that he's scary, which is his strategy. But it was a great fight where Kate kept like giving him everything that she had, and he was just deflecting it like it was no problem at all. And then he like takes all of her arrows, breaks them in half all at once. That was cool.
Yeah.
I really, really like that. And Kate's like kind of out of luck, and he's like, "You really don't have any options left." And she picks up like a little tag thing, and she flicks it right at one of the like electromagnet arrows, and then it charges like every arrow, or like it bounces off every arrow. I think it's the very dangerous one, and just explodes and just wrecks Kingpin. Actually knocks him out. That was like the one hope that like she had.
That was so cool. Like, did you see her? Apparently, those are the same cufflinks from Daredevil.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, someone like posted side by sides. They're like the exact same. But anyway, still like she did the flicking thing that that Clint taught her to do. I thought that was really cool payoff of that scene. Like that scene kind of just was kind of there, but then for her to do that was really cool.
That was such a nice ending to that fight scene, because there was no like, I mean, he was going to win easily.
Oh yeah. But she was so like she was like, it didn't matter how beaten she was. She was getting back up and she was ready to fight. I love that so much about Kate.
She gave it her all. Like again, I really like that whole scene. Really like that whole scene. But anyway, then she goes back to talk to her mom, and her mom is like, "You don't understand, whatever." And then Kate's like, "I called the police on you, so you're going to jail. I'm sorry, but you should not have done what you did."
It was an interesting to see their dynamic kind of evolve throughout the series. And even like it really just kind of changed. Like she got home and she was like, her mom was like a really important part of her life. And then she saw her, she was Jack, and she was like, "I don't like this." And then she kind of started to distrust her mom more and more, and like become more suspicious of her. And by the end of it, she just like wanted nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
And I thought that was an interesting way to solve things with her mom. So yeah, and great performance by the actress who played her mom. She was fantastic. Everyone in the show fucking killed it. Like everyone was amazing in the show.
Yeah. So then after that, Clint is able to make it back in time for Christmas with his family, and he has brought Kate along with him. And I had thought it was kind of like a nice a reversal of what we on, I think, episode 4 maybe, where like Hawkeye didn't have any family, so Kate like became his family for that episode, and now Kate has no family because her mom is in jail. So it's like Hawkeye's family is now her family as well.
Yeah, and like they just accepted it like champs, because like this is not the first time he's randomly brought home his coworkers, you know.
Yep.
So, I thought that was cool. And then finally, I think this happened before that happened, but we saw.
No, hold on. One more thing about
go ahead.
Clint being home as well is we finally figure out the significance of the watch.
Yes.
Because it turns out it was his wife's watch the whole time. And it turns out that, I don't know what the specific significance is, but like of the watch itself, but it shows that she used to be Mockingbird.
Yeah, well, which a lot of people were mad because it like kind of decanonized Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has been decanonized for a long time. Like there are a lot of people who like want to hold on to the hope that it's still canon, but it's not.
I mean, it is multiversal, so like everything is canon if you think about it.
Yeah.
But like the main MCU timeline, no, not really.
No,
I'm sure some parts of it can be if you want it to be, but
yeah,
it is what it is. I honestly don't care that much about the canon versus not canon.
Yeah, I mean, which is a shame because I really did like the Mockingbird that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has, but like,
watch that.
Oh yeah,
yeah, I've heard the show is really good. I watched the first episode and then my Netflix ended, so I couldn't get a chance to finish it.
Because what was I trying to say? I just had it.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Mockingbird. You said you really like the Mockingbird from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I really like the Mockingbird from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., but it's not like I really don't think they're gonna do a whole lot with Mockingbird anytime soon, with how large the MCU is and how many things they're working on setting up. So I just like it as like an Easter egg. But then also it's like, if the watch is an Easter egg, then why was so much of the plot like around and just an Easter egg? But still, at least we know what the watch is now. I'm not sure why Kingpin wanted it so badly, but
I don't know.
Which is it's kind of the one thing with payoff, where like I don't think there was enough payoff for the series as a whole in the last episode, but it kind of like wrapped things up a bit too quickly and a bit too quickly and a bit too nicely for the payoff to really feel genuine, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't know the right words to use.
Yeah,
it kind of felt a bit.
I think they wrapped up Kate really nicely. Like I think her part was done perfectly. Like the whole bit about the watch wasn't great. I don't think we got a lot of wrap up with Echo, but I think that was on purpose because we, leave it open for a show. Which, by the way, to end it, I think Echo finally confronted Kingpin.
Yes, this is a scene. Okay. There was one thing I want to say about that before, but because it goes back to the scene where we saw Kingpin lying and he's no longer there.
Oh yeah,
and then it cuts them and he's like hitting on out and he goes into an alley and there's Echo in that alley, and she has a gun. She's pointing it at like Kingpin. He tries to talk her down, but then it implies that he shoots him and he dies, but we don't get to see that.
Right, because it cuts to black. So I found something out about it.
It just pans up
and then cuts, and then it
cuts or it just cuts back to Hawkeye.
That's right,
and Hawkeye.
So I learned something about this in the last couple of days. Apparently in the comics, when when this confrontation happens, because in the comics, Kingpin tells Echo that, or Maya, that Daredevil killed her father, and it was actually him. And so when she finds out, she goes and she shoots Kingpin, like tries to kill him in the head, and he survives because he's Kingpin. But he goes blind for a little bit. So that might be the premise of Echo in the first part. Like we'll cut back and see that she did shoot him, but that he didn't die.
Interesting. Yeah, it seems like
we'll see.
It just seems like such a weird end. I don't know why they included that in Hawkeye. I just have to hope that he's not dead. I have to hope he's alive still, because if he is dead, that was such a waste of his character.
Yeah.
So like he has to be alive. I don't know why they implied that he died.
Because that's just what they do, you know. But that's what Marvel does. They like to waste villains.
Like we're not going to get Echo for a while, unfortunately. But like
probably be Christmas of 2023. To be honest.
I just really don't like that they implied that Kingpin has died.
Yeah.
It didn't, because there's such a weird scene to include, because it's not really tied to the Hawkeye story as well. Like, because like both Echo and Kingpin had like exited the Hawkeye story in terms of narrative, almost like completely.
Did Hawkeye have any time with Kingpin in this series? No, I didn't think so.
Nope.
And I guess that goes out to where like everything with Kate and her, like just everything around Kate was wrapped up really nicely, and to just, I don't know, just to kind of introduce Kingpin that and like have like hints at it throughout the episodes, and then to imply he's
kill
dead.
Him, is
weird.
ridiculous.
I didn't like that whole subplot. I didn't care for in the show. Like it didn't take away from the show at all.
Yeah,
but it was just weird that it was there. You know,
like I really like that we got Kingpin in the MCU and some of the bits that he had, but to kill him off, or to apparently have killed him off, such a ridiculous choice
without him fighting Spider-Man.
Yeah, because that's I was really hoping that he would be in like Spider-Man 4 or whatever. I thought that would be perfect. And now
5 or 6 or anything.
It's implied that he's dead, and it's like, why? What? And
it ends with like Kate trying to figure out her superhero name, which I like.
Yeah, because she's like Hawk Girl, or like there was another one she suggested or whatever, and then
Hawkshot, I think, was one of them. Like Hot Shot.
Okay,
Hawk. That was one. I like that one.
That was nice. But then Hawkeye says, "I have an idea for a name you can use," and then it cuts to the title card, Hawkeye.
Yeah.
So I like that. Yeah.
So
I like that a lot. I think there's something else I was kind of say about Kingpin as well, really quickly. But yeah, just the fact that like they killed him off without you ever getting to see him be strategic or good at manipulation at all. He fails at manipulation so many times in the series, and that's kind of what he's known for. At least in like the Daredevil series, he was so good at like manipulating everyone around him. And to see him continuing to fail at manipulation up to the point in severity where he can manipulate somebody out of shooting him. And
usually ridiculous. Like in the Hawkeyes, in Daredevil, he like his last resort was to use his brute strength, which is why he fought the Punisher, because he couldn't manipulate it. So he tried, and I think he succeeded to beat the living shit out of him. Pretty sure he won that fight.
I don't remember.
In the jail. I don't remember though. Honestly. It was pretty close. It was a great fight. God, that show was so good.
Yeah. I actually started to re-watch Daredevil.
I didn't do that.
When was that? That might have been yesterday.
Okay.
And like I just watched the first episode and I forgot how good the first episode was. Like I mean, the series as a whole is good, but just the first episode. And just all this stuff about Kingpin. You don't get to meet Kingpin in the first episode, but just all this stuff around him and surrounding him. I mean, he was smart. And yeah. It's and you are right. I didn't actually think of that before, but he always did save his brute strength for like as a last resort, or when he was like irrationally angry. So for him to use it so freely here was a bit odd. But obviously, this is a different version of Kingpin and all that. But just the fact that he didn't use any strategy or manipulation at all was just sad.
I'm kind of worried about King. Like, if he, if they choose to follow that storyline where she tries to kill him and she doesn't succeed, I'm kind of worried with how they're going to go forward with Kingpin because he was so good and we have such high expectations for Kingpin. I don't know. I'm a little scared. Maybe he'll come back soon. I don't know. But it's even worse if they kill him, honestly. Or is it? I don't know. I feel like I'd rather have him dead than have them screw him up.
True. I mean, but like in him being dead, they would have already kind of screwed him up.
That's
so like,
true. You're right.
The question is, can him being alive screw him up any worse?
Yeah. I don't know. But overall, I thought this episode was underwhelming compared to the rest of them, but it was the best finale, which says a lot about the finale so far. Overall, like we both said earlier, this is my favorite show, I think, still.
I probably liked the Loki finale more than I liked this finale here, even though the Loki finale was like super open-ended and was not actually a finale at all in the sense where
it leads to season 2.
It didn't wrap up hardly any story arcs.
No.
And
I didn't like Loki, so I obviously
and Mobius did not say wow a single time. But even though I like the Loki finale more, I think as a whole, Hawkeye may still be my favorite Marvel series currently on. It's Disney Plus.
It's very close for me between this and WandaVision. Like you know how much I love WandaVision. I love that show so much. But I definitely can like I've watched through WandaVision 1.5 times, or well, I've watched every episode at least twice, so like 2.5 times because I started watching with my mom. We just never finished it.
Okay. All right, okay.
Because my mom works, I work, all that fun stuff.
Yeah.
But my mom's really been into this show too. She really likes the show.
Sweet.
I will definitely be watching this show every Christmas.
Nice.
Like it's so good. I was so excited for this show.
One of the things I will say about Hawkeye is it definitely helps get you in the holiday spirit a lot. Like, I loved all of the Christmas songs they had in the background. Like, it had a lot of them, and not just like the really standard obvious ones as well, but some like niche ones you don't hear all that often.
Well, and I liked how the way they worked it into the soundtrack, like in the background, like when they're like, I really like the way they used, like, I know they used the Nutcracker theme a couple of times.
Yeah.
I really like how they worked that into the overall story too.
The one thing we haven't talked about Hawkeye yet is the post-credit scene.
I didn't watch it. I didn't want to.
Oh no? Okay. No. Okay. I was hoping for an actual post-credit scene. We didn't get like an actual post-credit scene that had anything to do with plot,
right?
Or not even plot, but just the characters. All the post-credit scene was an extended, like it was like, as you mentioned in an earlier episode, the Rogers the musical song was already out on Spotify.
Yeah,
this was that song, but it was the whole stage
production.
Yeah, the whole stage performance of that song. So it was nice to see, because I had seen like on YouTube, someone did this like thing where they reused a bunch of the scenes we got to like do a whole stage thing, but it didn't look that good. I mean, no offense to them, they did a good job editing, but when you have like 45 seconds of scenes for a 3-minute long song, you're gonna have to reuse a lot of them.
Yeah. Did you enjoy it? Because like I had to go to work, like I was in a hurry, so like I skipped it to see if there's any more end credit scenes. Did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I mean, it was nice. It's just in the context of like a post-credit scene, I'd much rather have this be like a released online to YouTube thing, and then there's like an actual post-credit scene instead. It just felt weird being at the very end.
I mean, like how they released like a 10-minute version of Zemo dancing.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think that's all our thoughts for Hawkeye, right?
I think so. Overall, like I said, probably my favorite show so
Nice.
far. And it was good that they kept it street level. Like it
Yeah.
didn't be like, oh, it's
Yeah.
affecting New York City. Oh, it's affecting all of New York City. No, it was just
Yeah.
like this affects Kate and Hawkeye. That's
That
it.
was what I liked as well,
And Clint.
because my biggest complaint in movies is when it's like they turn a small scale thing into like a world ending thing.
Like Falcon and the Winter
This,
Soldier.
yeah, yeah. This was small scale and it stayed small scale. And they did it well. Like, I mean, it was a compelling story the whole way through, and it was consistent. There was no unnecessary escalation right at the very end. So it was
Do you
nice.
do you think there'll be a season 2?
No, at least
No,
I don't want there to be a season 2,
that's fair.
because I just feel like there's nothing really else that this series needs to explore that can't be better explored a like a different story. Because I mean, we kind of are getting kind of a season 2 with Echo, where it like won't
That's true.
focus on Hawkeye at all, but like it'll be a continuation of that.
Mhm.
And I feel like any story for Kate, like I have a feeling Kate is moving toward the movie side of Marvel very soon. And I don't think, I mean, like I really like her as a character, but I don't think there's an urgent need to keep exploring like a multitude of stories like with her.
Right. Um. Okay. So the last question on this: where do you see Clint's story going, and where do you see Kate's story going?
I'm hoping Clint's story just is a retirement now. Like,
Okay.
like I'd like to see him do some stuff like very occasionally, like if there's a huge world-ending thing, then he can pop back up to help, or just as like, or just in future movies, he's like a reference, or shows he's a reference for like other heroes to come to and ask for advice
Yeah.
or stuff like that. But like I'm hoping that he can just be with his family
Yeah.
finally, because he's wanted to do that for a while here. I think this is the perfect time for him to move out of the spotlight, because he's never wanted the spotlight, kind of pass the spotlight onto Kate. Kate becomes Hawkeye.
Mhm.
Now maybe the next movie is that they're both in can be him kind of more officially passing off the mantle. Hopefully he doesn't have to die in order to pass off the mantle.
Yeah.
But I'm just really hoping that like Clint can spend a lot of time with his family. For Kate, I've heard a rumor that she will next appear in Ant-Man Quantum Mania. So if so, that'd be neat. I'm not sure how they'll fit her in, but I feel like her and Scott Lang would be fantastic.
Oh my God. Yeah. And then don't forget we have Cassie Lang
Yeah.
also. Which that leads me to what I think Kate's gonna do. I think Kate's probably gonna lead and assemble. She's gonna be the Nick Fury of the Young Avengers. She's gonna like go and
Ooh.
meet all the young, Cassie Lang, America Chavez, at Wiccan and Speed. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Isaiah Bradley's grandson. And like round
Yeah.
them
All
up
right.
and
All right.
get like a Young Avengers team going or something like that. I don't know. For
Spider
Clint's Spider-Man,
Man,
yeah.
even though he's off to college now, I believe.
Something like that.
Yeah, but
We'll
still,
get to that.
he's young enough. Well, I guess that
She's older than
she's
him,
in.
which is crazy.
Yeah, I guess that she's in college, or was in college at least. I don't know if she was expelled for the bell tower thing or not, but
Um, So yeah, I could see her like rounding up people becoming like the event. Oh, maybe that's how. Maybe like Kang the Conqueror doesn't get resolved in Quantumania because he's a big
Yeah, which
he's
I
a
do
big
not
villain
believe.
to the Young
Yeah.
Avengers.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, and he's like, oh yeah, he's like,
Interesting.
and they obviously they beat him because they're the good guys in comics, but and he's a big threat with the
That
Young
would be
Avengers, and
interesting.
maybe
Okay.
after she's in Quantumania, she knows where she is, and so her and Cassie go and get the rest of them and become the Young Avengers and fight Kang
Interesting.
at the
Okay.
end of
Okay.
all this. That'd be interesting.
Yeah,
I like.
because I'm assuming that they're building up Kang to be like the arc two villain like Thanos was in arc one.
Yeah.
I'm hoping so. I'm hoping he's not just like in Loki and Ant-Man and then he's dead, because that
No, that he
wouldn't be
can't.
any fun. Yeah, no.
Well, then that's how they get the Fantastic Four in it too, because he's a big adversary of the Fantastic Four too. So
Yeah.
we'll see. And then as for Clint, I like what you said. I wouldn't be surprised if they drag him back and do like a West Coast Avengers thing and have him and Scott lead the West Coast Avengers because Scott's from
Oh,
San
interesting.
Francisco.
Yeah,
Maybe
yeah,
for
yeah.
whatever reason he ends up there too. We get a West Coast Avengers. I don't know. I don't think we're gonna get two Avengers at the same time because we'll have Young Avengers and West Coast Avengers. But who
Yeah.
knows? I think they'll probably bring him back. That kind of just depends on Jeremy Renner. I think he
Yeah.
enjoys playing Hawkeye though.
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
so let's get to what we're really here for. I don't think we have to go through the whole movie and like explain everything like we just did, like
No.
we always do. Let's Spider-Man No Way Home. And again, if you've not seen this movie, go away. Come back later.
Oh yeah. Oh, and also a question that I do not want to talk about now, but I want to talk about once we've discussed Spider-Man in full,
Okay.
is the logistics of Spider-Man and Hawkeye existing at about the same time.
Okay, yeah. We'll talk about that. All right, guys.
Okay.
Hour 2.5. All right, get comfy. This is our. It's gonna be we're gonna be here for a while because that took a lot longer than I expected. Because we zipped through episode 5. I was like, all right, episode 6 will be quick. Nope.
Was not.
So
okay. So it opens
Spider-Man.
and it opens right where like not episode 2, where the second movie left off, which I like a lot.
Yes.
Because I rewatched that movie on Monday and I saw Spider-Man 3 on Thursday. So it was like a couple days after, so I had everything fresh in my mind. And
How
literally
was
right where the second movie left off, the third movie picks up. Yes.
How was the how was the movie watching experience there in Orlando?
It was fantastic. So I don't know if like you've ever and it's like that AMC theater that Disney owns.
No, I've not
but
been
like
to that one now.
okay, like most of the movie theater rooms look to be like standard rooms, but Spider-Man, the showtime that like we got for like the auditorium that we are in was a special one where it had balconies.
Oh,
where
wow.
like we walked in and I saw like a sign on the door. It was like, oh, if your seats are in these rows, then walk up. So I was like, oh, this is a 2-floor movie theater. Interesting. So I had to walk away from the auditorium over to a staircase to go up, to walk down this hallway back to the auditorium and walked in there. But then as I was walking, I saw another sign. I was like, wait a minute, saying go up another floor. What?
Oh, wow.
So I had to walk back up the staircase, go up to the top floor, then walk into the auditorium there. And it was nice because like I originally had purchased our tickets. There weren't a lot of options left because you know, again, like this is the 4th showtime I looked at, I believe, when I was buying seats, and there happened to be some pretty nice seats in row T.
Okay. Oh, geez.
But I was like, it'll be far back, but like they're nice seats, like, you know, in position to like the theater or whatever. They're just like they're far back, whatever. That's fine. But no, so like I didn't realize it was divided up in balconies because it doesn't say anywhere where you're buying tickets that's divided up into balconies and all that.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
But yeah, so I like walk in the theater, and it looks like it's just this one section. There's like the screen, and row T was the second row. So it's a row, and so we were in like the second row basically. And I mean, the balcony, I don't know how it was on the other two, but we had a very solid view of the screen.
Right.
And I was at the perfect place where there's like only one row of people in front of us. And like we could see like the whole screen clearly. It wasn't like we were up close. Mm-hmm. It's like if you were in the second row in a cinema movie theater, you're having to crane your head up. But I could just look forward. I could see the entire screen. There's only one row of people. And the theater was just a very, very nice theater. And the reactions were so solid. Like, I mean, as soon as the movie started and the sound was going, like everyone, you could feel the excitement all around you.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so it opens with that scene. Spider-Man's freaking out. He goes and picks back up MJ because she's starting to get questioned by like, how do you know Spider-Man?
Are you Spider-Man's girlfriend? Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah. And then they go away. Spider-Man goes back to his apartment, and it's still Happy and Aunt May having their whole conversation. Like, again, straight from Spider-Man 2. I was very glad I rewatched Spider-Man 2 right before, because I would have forgotten all of that.
I don't remember
but
it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Aunt May has officially broken up with Happy. And then Peter comes in. He's changing out of his Spider-Man costume. So when Aunt May opens the door at first, she like thinks they were like having sex. And like Peter's just so freaked out. He's just like, no, you just close all of the windows and go back to having your conversation here or whatever. But then Aunt May finds out, because it's like their apartment is like on the TV, and she's like, they know you're Spider-Man, and he's like, yeah. So then they're called and they're like arrested, basically, or whatever, or like pulled in the police station for questioning. And then I thought it was super cool where like Peter Parker is like, ask Nick Fury. He was there the whole time. And like even the department there, like I don't know who it is.
I think it was the FBI.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, the FBI. That makes more sense, at least, than just like a standard police station. But they're like, Nick Fury has been off world for like over a year, and Peter's like, what? And if I hadn't watched Spider-Man so recently, like I would have remembered that, because it was a pretty like important scene where you find out that Nick Fury wasn't who Peter was talking to at all. But
Talos?
like
Talos?
Yeah. So but Peter's like, what do you mean? So that was like super neat, just super neat.
MJ wouldn't talk, May wouldn't talk, and then of course Ned talked. I love Ned. He's great.
He's the best. What was I gonna say? Was something else I was gonna add about Nick Fury as well? Oh, I just like that like at least all these organizations are like talking or whatever. So Nick Fury has enough weight still for other organizations to need to keep tabs on him at like all times. And they don't know where he is. They just know he's been in space for like a year. And
Peter's like, huh?
Yeah. So then they say something about Peter needing a lawyer or something like that. And I was waiting. I was like, I don't know if they're going to include this or not. But then it cuts them being back at their apartment. And I literally do not know like half the dialogue from this scene, because I swear, as soon as the camera panned to Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock, the entire theater erupted into applause and cheers.
I audibly gasped. I was like, and Matt has never seen Daredevil, and neither had Ryan. And so they looked at me like, what is wrong with you?
That it was so emotional. I was like so looking forward to seeing him. As I got that, I was like, oh my God, he's here.
Caught me off guard. Because I had forgotten. Because I was into the movie. And then like he appears, like,
It was so early on and so quick.
It was like 30 seconds.
And yeah, I mean, and like literally, it was so much applause, so much cheering. I missed all of the first lines of dialogue. So I'm not entirely sure what happened, what he did, how he was involved. We have to go and we'll watch it again at some point where it's a much smaller theater who's already seen it, so I can hear more of the dialogue. But
you said you're in town this weekend, right?
So happy. Yes.
Are you available Sunday?
Perhaps I might be, depending on the time.
Okay, let's see if we can go see Spider-Man again.
All right. I might be down. That was a really, really cool movie, and I'm wanting to see it again.
Because I know a movie theater that like it's not going to be packed. Like it wasn't packed today. That's where me and Ryan went and saw Ghostbusters. So.
Oh, sweet.
There was like 2 other people in the entire place. So nice. All right. Anyway.
But yeah, that was that was honestly the best part of the movie for me. And it's not to discount the movie at all. It was a fantastic movie. That was my favorite part. Like, I mean, like I could feel tears of like happiness gathering in my eyes. I was so excited for that scene.
Did you see the video going around of him and Tom Hiddleston outside like some building signing autographs for people?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
he was so happy.
Or I saw like I saw like a screenshot of that. The video.
He was so happy to be there.
The video. Sweet.
Anyway.
But yeah, and then because there's the whole thing where like you're like, okay, what Matt Murdock is this? Does he have his like, is he actively Daredevil or what? And then like a brick comes to the window and he catches it with one hand, and Peter Parker's like, yeah, and Peter Parker is like, how did you do that? And he's like, I'm a really good lawyer. And I love that line so much.
Well, and you could see so Peter was gonna go catch it too.
Yeah.
Peter was like this, and Matt Murdock's like, how'd you do that? A really good lawyer. Good.
And I love his look. It was his classic look with like the really red glasses, and it was so cool.
Good lawyer.
I mean, that was really a perfect scene. Like I have, with how Kingpin was introduced, I have some complaints with that about how he was characterized and all that. But Matt Murdock, that was a perfect scene. I could not. I mean, obviously, I couldn't hear half the dialogue, so there's an issue with that. But I mean, perfect scene. So perfect scene. And now of course, with the rumor you talked about earlier in news about how he may be having a substantial role in the She-Hulk series. So excited for that.
I'm so excited.
I want Daredevil to be in the MCU as quickly as possible.
Put him in everything. I don't care. Put him in everything.
Yeah. I don't care if he has his own show ever. I just want him to have like a solid role in like everything. everything.
Yeah. Fantastic Four, Daredevil.
Yes.
X-Men, Daredevil. Multiverse of Madness, Daredevil. Deadpool, Daredevil.
Yes.
Blade, Daredevil.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, Daredevil. I am Groot, the animated series, Daredevil. Like the live action version, not an animated version. Just all the animation, just boop, he's right there. Man, but yeah, I really like that they did that, and they did that so well, where it wasn't overwhelming, it wasn't in your face or anything like that. It was such a well-balanced scene.
That was my biggest reaction to the entire movie.
That did the character justice.
Was Daredevil. It was Matt Murdock.
Okay.
And
then I literally blacked out for the next half hour. I don't remember anything after that. They were applying for college.
Yeah.
And they could not get accepted into any colleges because it was Peter, Ned, and MJ all could not get accepted because of their association with Spider-Man. So Peter was like, how can I fix this? How can I get it so we can have a chance at colleges? And he saw the little wizard thing, and he was like, Doctor Strange.
This is an important scene for everyone out there who's like so anti-Wanda. Okay, so they
Oh,
get there, right? He gets there and he's looking for Strange. First off, the face is full of like fucking snow,
snow.
right?
Yeah. Lots of
And
snow.
there's
Just
just these
snow
people
everywhere.
over there shoveling,
Yeah.
random people.
Which I
And
mean,
then
those one thing I thought of because they were obviously people who like, were like sorcerers or whatever. So like, do you not have a magic to remove the snow? Do you have to shovel it up?
yep,
Because they
they
kept
have
going. They had to go for a while. I was like, are you being punished?
to.
Like, I mean,
They could have
magic
just stayed like
exists.
it's like the whole time there, like Peter was there, just shoveling away.
Yeah. Yeah.
But anyway, so
Um,
they get there, and then remember how I said we weren't going to recap the movie?
yeah, I know. Like, I'm really trying hard to not recap the movie, but there's like so much to talk about.
Basically, just ask. Well, we find out that Wong is the Sorcerer Supreme.
Yeah, which I was
Everyone who's
like,
so anti
oh,
Wanda on the internet is just like, Strange is the strongest. He's the Sorcerer Supreme. No one's stronger than him. And then we're just like, well, actually, he's not the Sorcerer Supreme.
oh, okay, yeah,
So take
yeah,
that, haters.
yeah.
So
It's
Wong is the
funny
Sorcerer
that Wong
Supreme
was
on a
that.
technicality
It was so funny how he talked about it. It's like, yeah, Wong's only on a technicality.
because he
So
wasn't,
that was brilliant.
there.
Yeah.
I think that confirms that Wong wasn't blipped.
Yep.
So that's cool.
Yeah, which is because I assumed he was for some reason, just because when Strange returns, the whole Wong summoned everybody for the final fight, but I guess it was never like it was never mentioned whether Wong was or was not.
Yeah.
So so it's nice to know, and it's nice to know why he was the one who brought Shang Chi back in the post credit scene, for example.
Yeah.
Why
Yeah.
he was the one who was talking about him with that. Why he was with Captain Marvel and the Hulk, because he is the Sorcerer Supreme now.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that like,
So that was neat.
cool to acknowledge that it's him and not Strange.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and it's also neat because it's like, okay, the main characters, the guys who have the movies, don't necessarily have to be the ones who have like all the power at
right.
all times here.
Yeah, because like Wong, he's not like a major character, but he kind of is. He is now anyway. And it also kind of explains why he's just fighting and no one cares. He's just in a fight club with
Yeah,
with
Abomination.
Emil Blonsky. Yeah, Blonsky.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, then Peter's like, "Hey, fix this," and he's just like, no, I can't." And he's like, "Well, what if you make everyone forget that I'm Spider-Man except MJ and
Oh well,
or no, make everyone
hold on. Yeah, like
Steven
skimming
says that,
past
sorry.
that. Yeah, well, because I'm not sure if it was Peter who had the idea or Steven who had the idea, but they were like, "Hey, we could make forget," and Steven was like, "Oh yeah, here's the spell," and Wong is like something like, "We don't use that spell or whatever that often," and Steven's like, "No, you." He was like, "We used it for that party," and Wong is like, "What party?" And he's like, "Exactly."
I like the whole. Oh, we forgot the exchange about like Mr. Strange. Like, call me Steven. He's like, okay,
Yeah.
Steven. He's like,
Yeah.
I don't like that.
Yeah.
That joke persisted throughout the movie.
Mm-hmm. But then yes, so Wong is like, "You do what you want. I don't care."
Just don't wreck the universe, please.
Yeah. Oh, because the thing is like in the trailer for Spider-Man, and then another trailer we will talk about in probably an hour here. The whole thing is like you hear Wong and he's like Steven, don't cast that spell, but he never said that line in all of No Way Home.
Right.
Even though it was like such an important part of the promotion for it.
Uh-huh.
So I don't know if that was like a deleted scene or whatever, or if he's gonna say that in a future movie. No spoilers there.
Maybe.
But it was weird that it was in the trailer for No Way Home a lot, and he didn't say that line once. He straight up in No Way Home, he was like, "I don't care if you cast that spell or not. Bye."
He's like, just don't. He's like, basically like, just don't drag me into it, okay?
Yeah. So,
He's a great character.
oh yeah. So then, um, so then Steven and Peter both go into the basement, and he starts to cast the spell, and then he's like, and I really feel like he should have talked with Peter about it before, because Peter's caught so off guard when Steven's like, oh, everyone will forget you're Spider-Man. And Peter's like, wait, I don't want everyone to forget here. Like MJ, and he's like, okay, fine, I'll change it to MJ, and then the spell like changes, and he's like Ned. And he's like, oh, I'll change it again. It's like Aunt May, and then it changes, and he's like, we can't keep changes. He's like, oh, happy, and he's like, no, I'm not happy right now, and he's like, no, this is a guy named Happy who needs to know as well. And I think that was a moment where, because that's what happens. That's what tips him off, is because like Steven's like, oh, it was nice to have known you. And then Peter's like, what do you mean? Steven's like, I'm going to forget. And Peter's like, what? No. But anyway, so yeah, then it changes too much that like, it was such a cool scene where like everything is like destroyed or whatever.
It was basically
then,
like what we got out the window in Loki, right?
Kind of.
Those patterns and stuff, but it's just like the world broke apart.
Yeah. Because then the spell is not cast. He's able to contain it, but he can't like destroy it. But he can't like, he's not gonna cast it either. Because if it was cast, it would like destroy everything.
Right.
So then he's like, I'm sorry you couldn't have gotten into college, but like this isn't kind of work. But like if you've tried, like, you know, if you didn't get in initially and then went and appealed and that didn't work either, then like I don't know how else I can help. And he's like, wait, I can appeal? And Steven's like, wait, you came to me to like change all of this without even having like appealed the decision. That was a fantastic scene. But then there was the whole thing where Peter goes to find the person, and like all this Stark tech is offline, which I thought was like a nice touch as well. Because like, I mean, obviously the Stark tech made his suit like super powerful.
Yeah.
So no longer having access to that made it feel a bit or balanced.
Yeah. And then that's when it happens. So he gets to the car. He's trying to impress her, trying to talk her way out.
And it's kind of working. Maybe, I don't think all that much at that point. And then we see like something happen. And I honestly, this was neat because like Doc Ock appeared, was super cool. I totally forgot, like, you know, because all the trailer scenes we've seen of Doc Ock, they were on the bridge and all that. And then Peter goes to talk to someone on the bridge.
Yeah.
And I totally forgot that the whole fight scene was taking place on the bridge until I saw Doc Ock, and we're just like, oh, wait a minute.
They did a really good job.
This is the bridge from the trailer.
They did a really good job of sucking you in and making you forget everything.
Yes. I will absolutely agree with that 100%.
Because that's why it caught me so off guard with Matt Murdock. That's why I like audibly, because I completely forgot he was supposed to be in this movie. Because I was just so enthralled with what was going on. And that was like 5 minutes into the movie. Like oh, holy shit, what the Matt Murdock? And then like, you know, you're so and then in your case, you're so enthralled, and it's like,
yes,
oh shit.
This is that scene. But yeah, so then they have their whole fight, and he's like, and he's given some references to Spider-Man 2 and all that. And our boy Tom Holland is like, what are you talking about? Who are you?
And he's like, I can help you find your machine. Give me a second. Please stop throwing concrete rods at me.
And it was neat how he saved the dean of admissions or whoever that was. And she was like, oh, you are a hero. I will reconsider your applications. That's skipping slightly ahead, but we will forget about that by the time we finish describing like the fight scene. and all that. But the thing where the tentacles go in and like they grab Spider-Man, he's like, ooh, nanotech, and they absorb the nanotech.
Yeah.
That was what was rumored to have taken place. So obviously we saw the red tentacles in the trailer and all that. But then the fact that because the nanotech got him, like Peter got the ability to control the arms or the tentacles or the I don't know what to call them.
Tentacles,
honestly. Yeah, but that was such a neat bit.
Yeah, that was a cool detail of that. Yeah.
And
the way he was like able to like pick up the car, put it back, put him back, tie Doc Ock together. It was funny.
It was perfect.
It was so good. And then don't they have a conversation after that?
Oh yeah, because there's the whole scene where like he slams the whatever onto him and like because like he's ripped off the part of the nanotech, so he has to use the mask nanotech to go and save his chest, which made sense because at first I was like, why would he be unmasking himself when I saw it in the trailer? But then when it was at the hole there, he had to protect his heart from being impaled. So that was why he like put his mask on his chest.
And then he's like, you're not Peter Parker.
And he's like, wait, what?
Who are you?
But yeah, so then he is talking to Doc Ock, and then suddenly he's back in Doctor Strange's basement here.
No, not yet. Not yet. No, because remember we saw the pumpkin bomb.
Oh yeah, the pumpkin bomb comes, and then the Green Goblin thing comes, and then Doc Ock is like, it can't be, that's impossible. And then suddenly they're back in Doctor Strange's basement. Doctor Strange is looking a little beat up, and then we see Lizard. That was cool.
That was cool. They played that part with Green Goblin so much. I thought there'd be a fight scene there, but it was like nothing. It was like
yeah,
weird.
Which honestly, I
kind of glad they didn't extend that scene anymore.
I kind of liked it. It worked.
Yeah. It did what it did in the trailer. It gave us a taste of Green Goblin and took it away from us.
Yeah. So then, anyway, Doctor Strange is like, oh, everybody's here. You have to go and find and capture all of them, and we can return them to their timelines, and we can save the universe from destruction or whatever. I'm gonna have to speed this a recap up some.
Okay, that's fine. You probably should anyway.
Yeah. Just because I feel like if we keep going at this pace, it's gonna take forever.
Yeah. We're gonna take as long to get the recap out as the movie was. So like
yeah, but then there's the whole scene where like Doctor Strange is like, these guys are from the multiverse, and he's like, the multiverse is real, which I thought was neat because like 6 months ago or whatever he was lied to about the multiverse being real, and now it is real. But yeah, so then Doctor Strange is like, yeah, watch this, and he was like, Spider-Man, and Doc Ock was like, yes, and he was like, is this him? He was like, no. But and then there's like a meme I saw of that. I don't know if like you've seen this as well, but it was edited where Doctor Strange was like, do you know Spider-Man? And Doc Ock was like, yes. And he was like, is this him? Pointing to Tom Holland. And it was like, no. It was like, is this him? And pointed to like one of the other versions of Spider-Man. And Doc Ock was like, no. And it was like, is this him? And it was like, went from like Spider-Ham to like Spider Noir to like Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, like all these different comic book versions. And it was just, is this him? No. Is this him? No. Is this him? No. Just over and over. And it finally ended on Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. It's like, is this him? Yes. No, it didn't. It was such a funny meme. I don't know who made that, but honestly,
shout out to them.
Props. Yeah.
But anyway, so then he's tasked to go out and find whoever else he can.
Doctor Strange gives him the magic web things to be able to take down whoever.
That black suit that he had is just his suit, just inside out.
It's like, yeah, because he got green paint splashed on him for killing Mysterio. Yeah, so he had to turn his suit inside out.
He gets Electro, he gets Sandman in one shot, right?
Absolutely.
I'm just trying to speed it along because I don't want to spend too much on the details.
He brings MJ and Ned in.
Oh yeah,
which I thought were neat because they're like important people in his life. So like he wants them to know about that. So then he goes after all of them.
We skipped out. They're staying at Happy's house now because they know where he lives. So like,
yeah.
Anyway, that happened earlier. Anyway.
But then he goes to where they sense the multiverse stuff from, and it's like and there's like Electro there, and he's like, oh, perfect. And he does the little flip thing. Electro is made out of electricity currently, so it goes through him. But I really like how they did it because it starts with his like stupid blue form that no one liked. But then he's like, oh, the energy here, it's different. It gives him like, a new form, which I liked a lot.
I loved it. Yeah. Jamie Foxx is awesome in this movie.
Because obviously we knew they were going to change how he looked from the trailer, but it was a really nice way of doing it where they didn't just like have him look different. They had him look the same and then changed him in the movie. But then there's so he's fighting him, and then Sandman appears kind of out of nowhere, and he's like, Peter, I'm here to help, because in the Spider-Man 3, Sandman wasn't really a bad guy.
Yeah.
Up until the end, I think, but he was like, oh, you're not my Peter, and it's like a long story. But then they have the whole fight, and then finally the fight ends, and then he's able to send each of them back through. And then he gets a call from Aunt May. I think that he comes next. And Aunt May is like, hey, one of the people you're looking for is like here. And he's like, oh, freaking out because, all the bad guys. And also it's important to say that the reason they're brought over is because Peter messed up the spell so bad that now it's just everybody who knows of Peter Parker being Spider-Man is brought to the universe.
Yeah.
Also before I forget, we've already talked about this, so I'm just kind of jump back on here, though it's not until literally the end of the movie.
Yep.
But
about
Tom Hardy's Venom is also in the universe as well. And I was like, oh, that's neat. And then at the end of it, Oren was like, wait, Tom Hardy's Venom doesn't have a Spider-Man in his
it's explained
universe.
So don't worry, it's explained in the end credits scene of Venom.
Yeah? All right, okay. Because I saw an explanation for it online that I liked, but if it's like explained
what did they say?
Then I'll just take they said it's that it's because Venom has a hive mind, or species has like a hive mind. Yeah,
that's what they explained in the So you already had it spoiled for you essentially.
Oh, all right.
Basically, it just is like it's like the hive mind knows everything, and I'm gonna let you in a little bit, and then it's like it lets him know. I guess somehow it lets him know that Peter Parker's Spider-Man, and then he's there now.
Interesting. All right.
Anyway.
Okay.
So they're all there, and then he runs into where Aunt May is.
Yeah, and we skipped over the other Green Goblin scene because there's a scene like after the pumpkin bombs where he's just kind of there, and he's like he's taking off the suit, and the helmet is speaking to him, and I really like that they kept that up because that was a super cool part of the first Spider-Man movie. I remember, like, when was this? It was like 5 years ago when I was in France, and like at the hotel I was staying at, it was me and the people I was there with. We're flipping through channels, and we found the first Spider-Man movie, but it was all in French. And we turned it on just in time for the whole Green Goblin's like monologue with the mirror and everything. And in French, it was so funny to watch Because there was, what was it? There's like one thing that like that he like yells it at the mirror. It's just like it's like some it's like some like exclamation or whatever.
Yeah.
But like the French translation that they chose was so funny for that word. I can't remember what it is. I'm gonna have to find that scene back in French and watch it at some point. But it was so funny. So I just really like, that's one of the aspects of his character I liked a lot, just the whole like conflicted back and forth thing.
Yeah.
It's like they had it, but his helmet is speaking to him, so he smashes his helmet and he runs off. But then he's there with Aunt May, and it's just him. And he's like, yeah, I want to go to First Spider-Man for help, but this isn't like this Oscorp does not exist here. I don't know what's happening. So
someone's living in my house.
Yeah. Which I thought was neat as well, because it has like, it's like New York, and there are some changes for the multiverse, but obviously it's still similar enough for his house to like be there still.
I'm glad that there's no Oscorp in the MCU, because like I love the Green Goblin. I love how they did it in the first one. They murdered him in the second one. I kind of don't want him to come back, and as in like a new character, because like
I
don't know, they've already done it twice,
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. That's just me though.
Yeah. And I don't think that they will now, because we've already had him.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully they stay clear of the Green Goblin.
So now, anyway, Spider-Man has rounded up everyone, all except for Tom Hardy's Venom, who's in Mexico for some reason. But we don't find that out until later on. And maybe it's explained.
It is explained in Venom.
In Venom too. Okay, sweet. Perfect.
Yeah.
What was I gonna say?
By the way, this movie takes place over like 3 days.
Yeah, which is insane. Well, I mean, most of the movie takes place over in 3 days. I mean, you have the first 5 to 10 minutes of the movie, which take place over like 6 months or something like that.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And then like all the rest of the movie takes place in like 3 days.
Maybe,
but then it
might be less.
They have everybody. Spider-Man finds out that like they all die in their universe, basically. And Doctor Strange is like, okay, time to send them back. Spider-Man's like, but they'll die. And Doctor Strange is like, yep, time to send them back.
He's like, and I care why? It's what's supposed to happen.
So then they have the whole fight scene where Spider-Man takes the box, and super great scene where he's outside, and Doctor Strange does the thing where like pushes Spider-Man out of his body, or Peter Parker out of Spider-Man's body. And Peter Parker's like, this is the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. But then Doctor Strange goes to grab the box, and then Spider-Man's arm just moves up. She's like, what? And he goes up to grab it, and Spider-Man's arm moves down. And at first I was like, what is that? And maybe it was Lauren who explained it to me, or maybe I realized it like halfway through. But yeah, it's like as you said, like it's a spider sense.
I didn't even get that word out, but yeah, you knew where I was going.
Yep, because of my spider sense.
The Brennan tingle.
Yes. But yeah, super neat, because like that's a really cool way to show the spider sense working. I don't think it has been done before in any Spider-Man adaptation. But that was super neat. So then he gets in, and Doctor Strange does the cool thing with the portals where like
mirror dimension, yeah.
Well, not with that, but when he's trying
you're right.
Spring off, and he gets the portal, and the web is going everywhere, and then he webs himself through one of the portals, and then Doctor Strange tries to get the box back, but he keeps swinging. So then Doctor Strange opens up the mirror dimension, and then they have a whole fight through there, and you have the trains, which I'm pretty sure that train scene was edited a lot differently in the movie than it was in the trailer. But super neat. And then so Spider-Man, like Doctor Strange gets the box and he's full flying off, and Spider-Man is like, but wait, it's math. And then he does the trope that I really don't like in movies,
where he starts yelling out equations.
Yeah. Where as
I hate
doing
that
like
too.
math or whatever, you start like to get like you're like, oh, pi diameter 3, and it's like, okay, what? Why are you saying this out out loud. Even as Spider-Man, that makes no sense.
So
but then
people just have this perception of people who can do math. It's just like we just yell out equations. Like, no, that's not how we do math. We just sit there and we do math. Do it all in our head. Just think about it. And occasionally pull out a calculator.
But yeah, so then he gets the webs in enough places where they like wrap up Doctor Strange completely. And then Spider-Man takes the sling ring, which is the only way out of the mirror dimension, I think, right? I mean, Doctor Strange probably has some advanced magic, so maybe he can get out in other ways, but he's all like webbed up or whatever. So then Spider-Man leaves, and he leaves Doctor Strange trapped, and that was a smart way to remove Doctor Strange from the equation completely. So just then
still in the Grand Canyon / New York.
Yes.
Dimension.
So then Peter's like, I'm gonna help you, the bad guys here. I'm gonna remove kind of the things that are making you these evil, super evil villains or whatever, and then maybe you'll survive. And they're like, and then they're like, okay, so if we don't do that, we die, right? And Peter's like, yep, probably. And they're like, okay, I guess we have to. And then he gives the box to MJ and is like, if I text you to hit the button, then like hit the button to send everyone back.
Yeah.
Because the box has like the spell. And if you hit the button, it like reverses the spell or activates the spell or whatever. Yeah, so he starts to work on cures for that. He cures Doc Ock first, and Doc Ock is like, no, whatever, this is bad. And then as soon as the new chip is in there, at first, like, it looks like he dies, which honestly, that would have been such a bold choice of Sony and Marvel. I kind of would like to see the movie where that happens, where they just bring back all these classic villains that kill them off in different ways. But just Doc Ock just dies. But no, like the new chip, the replacement chip to what got damaged, restores his mind, and he's like, oh, thank you. So then he helps Peter. Some really nice scenes. They are working on all the here.
It was so funny when May asked Doc Ock if he wants fresh water or salt water.
And then he was like, why would I want salt water? And she's like, because you're an ock. Never mind.
She's so innocent. I love it.
Yeah. But then they're working on cures, and then like Peter's Spidey sense starts to activate, but like he can't tell what's activating it. And then he like his confrontation with like Green Goblin was like, yeah, no, I'm not the dude, I'm the Green Goblin. And then everything goes horribly wrong. And a lot happens very quickly.
Well, they basically like
Spider-Man and Green Goblin fight through a lot of floors, which my dad, who designed buildings, is watching it with him, and he's like, that would not be able to happen in real life anywhere close. Like, you have to go through so much.
You have to remember they all have like superhuman strength.
Yeah, but like,
that's true. It was all concrete though, so
yeah,
you just accept it.
There would be concrete and metal there, and how quickly they went through like several floors at a time. But I was like, that would not be possible, no matter how poorly the building was designed.
And see, this is where professionals, like, especially with that, and then me with like, because I'm a mechanical engineer, if anyone didn't know, where like scientific accuracy just bugs like engineers and stuff like that wouldn't happen. Like, my biggest pet peeve in like media is when they try to explain science as technology. I'm like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, it's so funny because like the one thing my dad will comment on movies, like every time it like comes up in a movie, is like sprinkler systems. Anytime like sprinklers go off in like commercial buildings and the water is so clear or whatever, and that's like, the water does not look like that at all. First of all, the water does not go off like immediately, and second of all, when it does, it is like the most disgusting water you will ever see in your life because it's just sitting in those pipes. Basically. It is never that clear. And you do not want to be in that water when it starts to come down. Obviously, if the building's on fire, you don't want to be in a building on fire, but like
when that water starts coming down,
you do not want the sprinklers to go off if you are in a building. But yeah, so then there's the whole fight scene, and then he gets down to the bottom, and there's like him and like Aunt May,
who had the box, I think.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Aunt May had the cures.
That's right. She had the cure for Green Goblin.
Yeah, and it did not work.
Well, she didn't inject it. She just got it in and then ran away or something.
No, she injected it.
You're right.
Yeah. It didn't work. But then, so he really damages. He explodes a lot of things. What?
Pumpkin bombs?
Yeah, and then he's just off somewhere after he explodes everything because he thinks he's killed Aunt May or whatever because he threw the bomb within Spider-Man. He kind of dives in the way. Oops. So then him and Aunt May are having a conversation or whatever, and then Aunt May says the classic line finally, and that got such a loud reaction in the theater I was in as well, as understandable. But with great power comes great a responsibility line.
Yeah.
And what I didn't realize, which was talked about later in the movie, is every time that Uncle Ben has said that in the past, he dies that same day. So I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, cool, a cool line. Everyone in the audience probably is more familiar with the source material was like, oh no. But yeah, because then Aunt May's like, I'm gonna lie down here and take a little nap. And Peter's like, are you all right? And then his hands covered with blood, and he's like, oh, you're dying. Which honestly, that was a pretty good depiction of like how shock keeps you from like feeling the pain that you're dying.
Adrenaline, yeah. Big adrenaline just doesn't feel it. Mm-hmm. This was such an important scene for what Peter Parker's going to be, which we'll get to. But this is such an important. It's obviously the equivalent of Uncle Ben dying in other movies, but we get it so much later in Peter's story because of what ends up happening.
Yeah, and which I like. Like, I mean, we'll get to all of it once at the very end. But I like because there were a lot of complaints about Spider-Man, which I understood a lot of how he's kind of this like kid with all this access to all this to all this tech and all these opportunities and everything. It's kind of not like the Peter that a lot of people are familiar with. But this, I mean, this is a big tragedy in his life here.
Is this Peter's true origin story? Like, I know we're supposed to be getting the new show and whatnot, but is this his real origin story?
Yes.
Like, is this the Peter Parker Spider-Man origin story?
I mean, I 100% am of the firm belief that Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3 make the perfect origin for him here.
Mm-hmm.
Like the perfect origin. So what was I saying before? God,
something about Aunt May dying.
Oh, yeah. So Aunt May dies, and then it's like right as like, the FBI or whatever is surrounding the place, and then like Happy Hogan somehow gets through what I'm assuming is a blockade around the perimeter. Just drive up in front of the building, see Aunt May die. They're pointing at them, but they don't shoot at this random car that just pulled up in front of them for some reason.
And the Daily Bugle's there too. Just
yeah. But then Aunt May dies, and then Peter is freaked out and Happy is like, go run now. Yeah. And then he's very freaked out, but he finally is able to run.
And they shoot at him.
Yeah. And then he gets hit once. Even.
Yes.
But yeah, he goes off, and then it cuts back to Ned and MJ who are at his house, and she's like, I'm gonna press the button here because like it looks bad, and Ned's like, no, don't wait. Let me try to open up a portal because I can do magic now. Well, he realizes he can do. By the way, like the spark happens. Yeah.
By the way, we got confirmation that MJ is Michelle Jones Watson. So she is an MJ Watson variant. That was like confirmed in this. No one knew if her last name
Yeah.
was Watson. I don't know.
All
She's like
right.
Jones
Yeah.
Watson or whatever. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
That's just something I wanted to interject there.
Which I played as well because this was the first time we got her her full name.
Yeah.
Um.
So anyway, so they're with
What was
Ned
the other thing?
and MJ, and he's like finds out he can spark the portal.
Yeah,
and he's
yeah.
like, "Well, open up a portal to Peter. We'll see if we can find him."
Yeah. So he's
So
like,
Ned says,
he's like, show me Spider-Man
or
or
Peter Parker,
whatever.
yeah. And
Yeah.
then the
So
portal
then,
opens and Spider-Man.
yeah, and like at first I was like, oh, cool, they found him, and then he walks in, and then people start giving this big reaction. I was like, wait, what am I missing here? And then I was like, oh. And
That's
then
not.
he takes off his mask or whatever. He starts like going up to
And
the
then
front. He starts like
everyone.
running up. Yeah.
Woo!
Huge reaction. And this was a really cool scene. Like I really like this. I liked
He was really great.
the Matt Murdock scene more, but this really like this made me want to go back and rewatch the Amazing Spider-Man movies, which I never thought I would say before. Because I mean, they're not like bad movies, but I didn't really like either.
They're not up to par.
Like a watch for this. Honestly, seeing Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man again, I was like, might be worth it. Because the scene where they were like, prove you're Spider-Man, he jumps up the ceiling, he's just holding on to the ceiling like that.
Yeah.
And like MJ is like, crawl around. He's like, really? This isn't enough? And you're like, how could I be doing this? You know, I wasn't.
And then
like,
like,
no, do it. And he's like, no, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah.
Ned's was it grandma was like, can you like get the while you're up there? Like, can you get the cobweb over there? And he's like, finally, like pulls himself up and crawls over there. Just like, is that okay?
Fantastic scene, like such a good scene. And like this is another scene I'm gonna have to rewatch because again, so much applause constantly, especially because when Ned is like, show me Peter Parker or Spider-Man again, and everybody knew exactly what was gonna happen next.
And then that's where
everybody knew.
Flipped out again.
Yep. Which was great.
It was interesting seeing Toby without like the Spider-Man suit on first.
Yeah. But it was.
Well, I was gonna say, I think it like kind of like everyone sees each Spider-Man differently, and everyone sees Andrews as being the best Spider-Man and Toby's as being the best Peter Parker. And to see them come in, Andrew as Spider-Man and Toby as Peter Parker, kind of played to people, people's opinions of that. And stuff.
Yeah.
So, that was interesting.
Yeah, but then there's like the whole dynamic where they figure out that each other is Spider-Man. And Ned and MJ are like, what's going on? And they're like, okay, we need to find him because we want to help him out. Where might he be? And they're like, the school roof where we saw earlier. I keep sinking so low in my chair, just like it's like right here. And I'm like, I need to like scoot up again. But yes, so they go up there and Tom Holland, I have to call him Tom Holland now for obvious reasons. But he's up there. And Ned and MJ come up and he's like, Aunt May's dead and I'm sad because Aunt May is dead and I'm so mad at the Green Goblin now, grr. And then they're like, well, these people are here. And he's like, what people? And then they point up and it's Spider-Man up on the bell tower. And I really like this whole exchange. Like it was so good. I'm gonna have to go a little bit faster again through everything here. We're gonna miss talking about so many fantastic moments here. But if we spent time talking about every fantastic moment, it would be the entire movie.
Well, maybe when we have RJ on next, because they'll have seen it, maybe we'll talk a little bit more about it. Because we get his opinions on everything, and we'll talk a little more about it.
Yeah. But anyway, so they all meet. They're like, no, we can do the cures. So they go down to like the science lab or whatever, and they start working on some more stuff. And there's that one scene where
my favorite line in this whole thing is like he's like, Ned is like, so do you have a best friend?
I was just about
like, do you have a best friend? He's like, I did. He's like, oh, what happened? He's like, he tried to kill. I watched him die in my arms after he tried to kill me. And Ned was like mortified.
Because there's one scene after that where like Ned's like, I promise to never try to kill you or whatever.
I love Ned.
Yeah.
I love him so much.
Oh my god. Yeah, but then so there's there's that, and there's like another fantastic scene where like Ned's like, hey Peter, and like they do kind of like a rough approximation of the meme where they're all pointing at each other of like the Spider-Man meme. And that was fantastic.
Yeah. Well, which Peter?
Yeah.
Peter Parker.
Yeah, and he was like Peter Parker, it's like Spider-Man. And they're all like, that just doesn't help.
The computer.
Yeah. So that was fantastic. But then they get all of the heroes to work, and then they want to lure everyone to the new statue of Liberty to have the whole scene. That
with the
to
shield.
have the whole scene there, the whole fight there, to hear all of them. So they do. He does a live stream thing through the Daily Bugle.
Real quick,
yeah,
but you missed about them finding out Toby had organic web.
Yeah,
that was great.
Yeah, because the whole thing like, oh, we need to get like a web fluid for or whatever. And
Toby's like,
Tobey Maguire's like, what are you talking about? And then he does the thing, and they're like, whoa.
You just create that? He's like, yeah. You guys not like, no, we have to make our own.
I absolutely love the question where like it was like Tom Holland was like, so does it come out of anywhere else or
not just my
wrists? And it was so funny. It's like, oh my god. He's like, yep, nope, it's just the wrists. And then but then they go to the Statue of Liberty, and they're all getting prepped. I really love the one scene where it's like Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire, and he's like trying to stretch his back, and he's like, oh, I can help you with that. And they do the little, it's like the back cracking thing. That was so funny.
He's like, I feel better. Oh, I feel so much better.
Yeah. But yeah, so then he does the live stream,
trying to lure them all there,
and it works. They all get there. They have a whole fight scene, which is fantastic. Like first, it starts off as being uncoordinated and all that, but then they like regroup and team up, and they give each other like names because they're like, oh, we kept confusing each other on the comm. So like, because it's Spider-Man 1, 2, and 3. So they're like, oh,
Tom Holland goes, I'm Peter 1, you're Peter 2.
Peter 2.
And then Andrew's like, I know, I'm Peter 3. Yeah, I know.
Which is really funny. I don't know if this was like intentional or not, but it's always like online, or maybe it was Lauren again. I don't remember where I see things anymore, like hear things in this movie, because there's so much all about it. But someone pointed out how it was really funny that Andrew had such a strong reaction to being Spider-Man 3, and also he's the only Spider-Man without a third movie.
I didn't even realize that. I thought it was just because people all were like, oh, he's like the worst Spider-Man. But he didn't even get his. But you're right. Oh my god, that's funny.
And also because there was another funny scene as that as well, where like Andrew Garfield was like, yeah, sometimes I feel bad about myself or whatever, and then like Tobey Maguire was like, no, you are amazing.
That's later. Yeah.
Oh, is it later on? Because I thought there was an earlier scene that was like prior to all the bad guys.
I think there might have been 2 scenes, but he said you're amazing, like at the afterward, like when right before they're about to disappear.
Oh, all right, okay, but there's one scene I think it was like earlier on where he also said you're amazing. Yeah. And I didn't
right before they went out, and then like Andrew's like, I love you guys, and they're like, thanch. They just keep going.
It was so funny, but like the amazing scene especially, I was like, I get it, Amazing Spider-Man. But so where were we? Yeah, so they have the whole fight scene. They're not working as a team at first, but then they're able to coordinate, and they take them on one by one, and they get all the cures, and slowly but surely they cure everyone. Oh, with the Lizard, I'll also say, like, I forgot he talked. Like
me too,
like completely. So he talking there, I had the same reaction that like Ned had or whatever, or not. Yeah, it was Ned, I think. Someone was like, you can talk. It was perfect.
Yeah.
Then in the whole fight scene, they cure, I think, Sandman first, then Electro, and then the Lizard, and then Green Goblin shows up at the very end
with a comic accurate costume, might I add.
Yeah, which was neat.
And then
I like that.
Doc Ock
The
shows
hood.
up too to help them.
Oh, that's what it was, because Doc Ock shows up when there is Electro, and Electro was like really powerful.
Yeah.
And Doc Ock was like, no, I got these guys. And Electro was like, I can do this. And Doc Ock was like, no. And then he was like, wink, wink. And then he like puts the cure thing on Electro.
I liked when Doc Ock and Peter and Tobey Maguire were like, it's good to see you again. Yeah. Good to see you too. And then that's Green Goblin, basically they finish that up, and then the Green Goblin comes in.
And somehow they end up on like the shield of the Statue of Liberty. By the way, the Statue of Liberty has a shield now. Oh yeah, because falls, the portal was open. Yeah, this is the whole thing with the box.
And then Green Goblin knocks Toby. Not it's too many Spider-Man. Knocks Tom Holland out of the way, and then Andrew Garfield saves MJ. There's a little redeeming quality there. That was cool.
Yeah, because that's what a lot of people speculated would happen as well. But Tom Holland starts to dive off, and Green Goblin like gets him. So then Andrew Garfield is like, I'm not going to let this happen again. So he dives off and is able to save her. Yeah. He does the full dive and catches her or whatever, and then does the web. And there were a lot of people were like, well, why didn't he just do the full dive in the Amazing Spider-Man? He could have saved, or like that. But I don't think they remember what happened in the scene.
Didn't he try to?
He could not have dived because he was in the clock and like all the gears and everything were falling in. It's just like a very narrow place. He could get the web, and he could not have made up that speed or that distance.
Anyway,
so quickly.
Anyway, so that happens, so then they end up on the shield.
Yeah, and then they have a whole fight, and Peter's like, I want to kill him because he killed my aunt.
And so he picks up the Goblin guy glider. That's what we're calling it.
Yeah. They have the whole fight. He's still taunting him. Like Green Goblin is taunting him the entire time.
And so Tom Holland was not holding back
to kill you. No, he was not. He's glider. Brutal. He's going to kill him, and Green Goblin is like, haha, whatever. I don't care. And then the other Spider-Man run up, and they're like, no, don't. They're like, you're better than this or whatever. And then Tobey Maguire gets stabbed through the chest
after he stops Tom from stabbing.
Yeah.
And then
like Tom's finally like starting to relax, and the Green Goblin just goes bam. And I thought they killed off Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man. A lot
of people thought they were going to, and then they like came back and reshot the scene and decided not to. But I don't know. Like
that would have been
devastating.
Like to bring back a character like that just to kill them off,
just like Kingpin.
like hey, here have nostalgia. And now we're going to kill this character,
just like Kingpin,
who has like a life. Like it's not like he was just like him and MJ. From what I gathered from scenes, they have a relationship.
Yeah.
So like if he died in there, he wouldn't be able to go back, right? So like MJ would just never know what happened, because how do you find that out? You don't.
No, I guess maybe Doc Ock would have told her. No, because he still dies anyway. I don't know. You don't.
Yeah.
Unless when they went back, everything reset. I don't know.
Anyway, but he survives. The Green Goblin is cured and is very thankful. Does not remember anything from what I can tell.
Uh-huh.
And the Doctor Strange emerges, and like he's like, I was floating over the Grand Canyon for 8 hours, and then Andrew Garfield, Tobey Maguire were like, how could you? Like, we could have used your help here. Like, what were you doing? Just I thought it was the funniest line, and like Tom is like, no, it's fine, guys. Don't worry about it.
I like how they were marveling that hilarious. Like that in the Avengers line. Oh, what is that? Some sort of band?
Yeah. Or she's like, I was in the Avengers, and they're like, what?
Oh, the Avengers. What is that? Some sort of band?
But anyway, so then it's time. Everyone's cured. They get sent back, but like the multiverse is like starting to come through, and you see like silhouettes of like a bunch of Spider-Man villains. Like
Craven.
Scorpion is like who I recognize because he's a very distinct silhouette, like comic Scorpion.
And then I know a lot of people pointed out Craven. I didn't even notice any of that. I was too busy.
All right. Okay.
So I'm gonna have to see it because I know I missed things.
Yeah, but then Tom Holland is like, what if you do like some other spell? And Dr. Strange is like, I don't think anything would work. And he's like, what if everybody forgets
Peter Parker?
Me? Like, what if you do the original, like not the original, but just like straight up, everyone forgets that I'm Spider-Man. He's like, that might work. So he does that. He has to swing off for some reason. He says goodbye to MJ and Ned. It's a very like emotional scene.
Yeah,
because I didn't expect that to happen at all. Because Spider-Man has been very like happy endings for the most part. Mm-hmm. So this was like really heavy. But then he says goodbye to MJ, and MJ is like, "You need to find me and like make me remember all of this."
Happy endings. In the second movie,
I'm talking about like prior
to the MCU,
to the post-credit scene. No. I'm talking about just Spider-Man Homecoming and Far From Home, but like prior to like, the post-credit scene.
But like he died. Like I guess you can't really count it as the Spider-Man movie, but like the last scene of Endgame he was at a funeral. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. But I mean, still for the most part, he has a pretty like sweet life. But yeah, so for him to lose like everything basically. But yeah, so then he swings away for some reason. I kind of thought that was odd. Like he couldn't have stayed with MJ until after the spell was cast. But like I don't know how the spell worked, but he didn't know either. But anyway, so then he goes, and then nobody remembers him. They remember Spider-Man. I'm assuming they remember the events of everything.
Yeah, so everyone remembers Spider-Man. They just don't remember Peter Parker. Everything. It's just, I guess, missing gaps of like. So like when he introduced himself to Doctor Strange, he said, "Hi, I'm Spider-Man," or he said like he introduces himself to Spider-Man after he says, "Oh, we're using our made-up names."
It's like how would Doctor Strange or just any of the Avengers remember working with Spider-Man but not have any invested interest in like knowing who he is?
Right.
Is kind of a question that I have, but I'm sure it'll get explained in the next Spider-Man movie or then Spider-Man's next appearance. I don't know if his next appearance will be in Spider-Man 4 or if he'll have like some role in a movie prior to that. But then he goes back and like
is a prequel, so it doesn't really even matter.
What?
It's the Spider-Man series, the high school series.
Yeah.
That's it. But like after that, we have no idea. We don't know where he's going. We just know he's got a fourth movie.
But anyway, he has rehearsed something for MJ, but he goes in there and like he doesn't want to tell her now for whatever reason because she like has a life. Mm-hmm. So he makes the choice not to tell her. He goes to Aunt May's grave and Happy's there, and like Happy's like, "Oh, how did you know her?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm a friend of Spider-Man as well." So just no one remembers who he is, and then it shows him studying for his GED and getting ready for college, but he has like an apartment all by himself now, and it's very classic Spider-Man. He has a new suit.
He made himself
super cool. Yeah. And it actually looks a lot. It looks better than the original suit that he made for himself.
I think it looks better. Well, yeah, I think it looks better. Like it looks the most comic accurate. I think.
Yeah. All right.
Again,
sweet.
They've been on a roll with that lately. Is comic accurate costuming, which is cool. I mean, I like when they're not. I don't really care all that much, but it's even cooler when they do. So,
and those are all the events of the movie. So I think we can finally move into talking about how we feel as the movie as a whole. My first question for you is, obviously you were very hesitant about the multiverse in podcast episodes leading up to this one. We have the multiverse now. What do you think about that?
I think they went about it in such a way as where they did. I like how you changed your name on the screen.
Guys, I was
I
mean
think
to before we start recording. I'm like, yeah, I'll just change it now.
they approached it in a way to where it wasn't too openly multiversal. Like you knew it was the multiverse, but like it was all contained in the one universe, which I think still leaves it open for the Spider-Verse. I think they did it a good enough job to where it satisfied me. And also we
Yeah.
got Matt Murdock, so again, I don't care.
I thought
But the first thing I
everything was
asked,
balanced extremely well.
yeah, the first thing I asked Matt when I left, because I saw it with Matt and Ryan, was like, am I allowed to like this movie? And Matt was like, no, you have to hate it on purpose. I'm like, all right, that's fine. I think they did it the best that they could without making it too giant. Like, I mean, obviously it was giant, but like it wasn't like Miles Morales and going. It wasn't like Into the Spider-Verse giant, you know?
Yeah, no.
Because that movie was huge.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I liked how they balanced it. So they did it. They did good.
So, another question: how do we think this fits in with Hawkeye?
Oh, you mean about the timelines and such?
Yeah, well, because as I'm looking back and we've recapped specific events,
yeah,
and all that, like this wasn't necessarily like a world-ending situation in like the public eye. Obviously, if the spell hadn't been saved, then the world would have crumbled or whatever as everybody comes over. Excuse me. But like if Hawkeye was in New York at about the time, like,
so
wouldn't this have been something where he would have checked in or like
I don't know.
reached out to Peter Parker? Maybe I don't know if like he ever really necessarily met Peter in any.
I don't think so.
Solid aspect. So
other than getting
not,
the glove, like, other than giving him the gauntlet, the Infinity Gauntlet, that's all he. That's the only other interaction he ever had.
So maybe this actually works and like and makes sense and all that. I just feel like I don't know because it was these two movies timeline wise are very close.
Right.
Together for the most part.
It at least takes place in November, as far as we know, and then I know New York starts decorating for Christmas. I think like late November, early December.
You're right.
So I think this happens November, before Hawkeye.
Yeah. It absolutely
because
is.
Well, one, the tree is still up.
Before, yeah.
And if it didn't, well, here's why he didn't reach out. He didn't know it was him. He forgot. Remember?
But
except he didn't forget he was Spider-Man.
Forgotten before. I don't know. Like I honestly think it might make sense just at the time because I forgot that wasn't necessarily like directly around Christmas. So if we say like, oh, it's the end of November where things are just up, then that works.
Because remember, Hawkeye took place over 6 days.
Yeah.
Like took place from the 19th to the 25th.
Yeah,
December, and then that leaves Spider-Man happening between the 31st of October and the taking up until the end of, or at least the beginning of December.
Yeah.
So
overall thoughts on this movie, I liked it a lot. This is probably one of my top MCU films, if not my number one.
Really?
I'm gonna have to rewatch to make sure it's not just it's like the first watch through vibes talking there, but it was so well balanced in my opinion. This might take the top spot.
Well, I think maybe like halfway through next year, after we get a couple of new movies, couple of new shows, we'll definitely have to go back and do our rankings again. Because now that we have Shang-Chi, we got Eternals, which I still haven't seen. We got Hawkeye. We've got. We're gonna have a couple more movies under our belts. We'll revisit it for sure. Because I know last year we kind of did about halfway through the year. We'll do that again next year. We'll just have a whole episode dedicated to it if we have time. There's so much shit to talk about.
Oh yeah.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. Now, I would like to point out that within a 48-hour span, depending on when you watched Hawkeye episode 5, we got Kingpin and Daredevil.
That was so cool.
A week later, Kingpin might have been killed.
Yeah, because one of the big things for me is I originally thought that Hawkeye. So Spider-Man takes place in 2024.
Yeah.
And I originally thought that Hawkeye took place in 2025 because that was the original plan. But into production, it was changed to 2024 instead. Which, because when Kingpin was apparently killed off, it's like, okay, at least there is hope where if he is officially dead here, we could see him back between 2024 and 2025, maybe fighting Spider-Man.
Right.
But now that it's like, the same time, then there's no chance of seeing him fight Spider-Man unless he survived. So hopefully he's not dead.
Yeah. And I think, Peter could have very well have come into Hawkeye at any point in time. Because sure. things exploded, like shit went down. But the story was so well contained within Hawkeye that it kind of wasn't. It could have happened and everyone would have been fine with it, but it didn't need to. But I thought, interesting.
Oh yeah,
they left the door open, but and then, like I said, everything was revolved around Kate and her family that it just didn't ever need to be explored by Sam Wilson, who also could have been in it, or really anyone.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. One more thing I want to add about Spider-Man is just seeing him like this, where he's like on his own. He doesn't have access to any expensive technology or anything like that. This, that's like, no one knows who he is. You have the Daily Bugle, who's like against him. We finally have all of the elements of classic Spider-Man.
Yep.
And so I really think this was a perfect 3-movie origin story. And I'm excited to see where this goes next, because now the next trilogy of movies we're supposed to get will really be classic Spider-Man.
Yep. So. Yeah, and it'll hopefully all be street level. I think this leaves it open for a couple of things, because now that MJ and Ned don't really know who he is, it leaves it open for for some more classic characters to come in. A lot of people are looking at Felicia Hardy or Black Cat, someone to come in and take that spot of kind of like being flirty with Spider-Man. It leaves open for Gwen Stacy to come in, possibly Harry Osborn, but like I said earlier, don't really want that, but he could definitely play a part in it.
But because that also leads to the question of, will MJ and Ned still have like a big role or a role at all, or are their characters kind of like on their way out? Yeah,
I think they'll be there.
Sweet.
I just don't think they'll be as prevalent. But and it leaves room for Flash Thompson to become a villain. Because remember, he didn't like Spider-Man at first, and then he became in the movie he wrote a book called Flashpoint.
That was so funny. The Flashpoint book, that was so funny.
That was funny. And then the woman was reading it in the car.
Yeah.
But it leaves room for a lot of cool Spider-Man characters to come into this. So
one of the neat things I will say as well is, obviously in Spider-Man Homecoming, the Vulture knew who Spider-Man was because of the whole plot. And then you have the whole post-credit scene where you have Scorpion. I believe they were in jail or in prison. Scorpion was like, "Hey, who is Peter Parker?" And the Vulture was like, I don't know. So, but that was the whole thing of he obviously knew, but he didn't want to tell. But it's kind of funny now, because even if he did tell, it wouldn't matter. Literally inconsequential. That actually would be neat. I'm just thinking about it now. That would be neat if that was just an Easter egg for 2 movies later where everybody forgets. But
last two things. One, and this is just me being me, and being skeptical. Peter's new building looks a lot like Jessica Jones's. No, that's me reaching for things. I want Jessica Jones back in the MCU, but that's whatever. Number two,
interesting. Be really interesting.
People not knowing Peter's identity and knowing he's Spider-Man leaves it open for a really cool kindling of a relationship between him and Matt Murdock's Daredevil.
Yes.
I'm so excited to see if that happens.
Absolutely.
And then Deadpool. Like I said, give us a Team Red movie. Come on, Disney. What are you afraid of? Give us Team Red.
For sure.
Give us Team Red. Now they're all in the MCU. It's confirmed.
What was the other thing that I had?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not in your brain.
Wow.
It's unfortunate because sometimes it would be helpful with moving conversations along, but I guess we'll never know.
I really can't. What was the last thing I was gonna add?
I don't know. Were you talking about Scorpion and? No, oh, by the way, I guess in the new Peter Parker series, we're gonna see him fight Scorpion.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, because if he was we've never seen him in a movie, but he was in that end credit scene.
Scorpion?
Is that what you said? Did you say Scorpion?
Yeah. Wait.
Did we see him fight Scorpion? You said the Vulture and Scorpion.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But it wasn't like a comic accurate Scorpion. It was just like an Easter egg. Like I'm pretty sure the guy was supposed to be Scorpion based on like a tattoo that he had or whatever. But like we probably won't ever see him fight Scorpion.
Not in the movies, but like in the prequel show.
But like the guy didn't become Scorpion until after Spider-Man.
Oh.
Homecoming.
Okay. Never mind then. That would be cool.
What was I gonna say? I really can't remember.
That's unfortunate. I hope you remember for next time. Because we're almost at the 3-hour mark.
Are we really? Oh wow.
9:00.
God, okay. Well, like this is probably a good place to cut it anyway. Like I know we obviously have a trailer to talk about. Let's save that for the next podcast.
Yeah, did you want to do one next week? Because this could be our quote unquote Christmas episode. If you want to do one next week to kind of wrap up the year, it's up to you. If not, I completely understand.
I will let you know. I'm not sure. My schedule might be pretty.
That's fine. That's fine.
Busy.
I completely understand.
Oh well, so we will end on the mystery of what was I talking about because I cannot remember what the last thing I wanted to add was.
So, we'll wrap this up then.
To all of you lovely people at home,
Merry Christmas.
Happy Life Day.
And everyone else who celebrates other holidays, happy holidays. Happy Kwanzaa to those who celebrate. And happy Life Day. And if we don't see you, Happy New Year. I can't believe this is going on to its second year of this show. It's crazy.
Yeah.
But longest podcast ever. Great way to end up the year. We hope you guys enjoyed your show, the movies and the shows we talked about. Very excited.
And next week, the Book of Boba Fett. The Book of Boba Fett starting next week.
I'm so excited. So that I'm going to wake up at 3 a.m. for.
Anyway, with that being said, peace out. Chat.
Don't forget to like and subscribe everywhere you can. Peace. Probably end the recording now.